welcome Norwegian Prime Minister at the White House for a working visit. The two leaders will discuss trade and regional security. This will be the 13th head of state visit of President Trump's term already. At the border, President Trump continues to deliver on his promise to make America safe again. The Wall Street Journal captured the Trump effect in a recent article. Border crossings grind to a halt as Trump's tough policies take hold. U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded its lowest southwest border crossings in history in March, and we're seeing the same successes at our northern border. Here's how the New York Post put it. Northern border sector previously overrun by illegal migrants sees dramatic drop in crossings. We haven't seen anyone since November, end quote. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, just 54 illegal aliens were apprehended in the Swanton sector of our northern border, which stretches more than 300 miles in March. This is a drastic 95% drop from the more than 1,000 border crossings that were caught in March 2024. This is a main hotspot area that recorded more than 80% of all apprehensions along the northern border during the 2024 fiscal year. And new reporting from the Washington Times fully highlights the difference in Joe Biden's disgraceful approach to the border compared to President Trump's. Under Trump, border catch and release has dropped 99.99% from worst Biden month. You can't get much better than that. This statistic in particular is astounding. Border Patrol agents caught and immediately released 189,604 illegal aliens into the United States in December 2023 at the height of the Biden border crisis. But under President Trump, Border Patrol agents caught and released only 20 illegal aliens into the U.S. in the month of February. Thanks to President Trump, operational control of the border is becoming a reality, and the administration's historic enforcement measures are yielding huge results. Illegal aliens are finally getting the blunt message. If you cross the border illegally, you will be swiftly deported and never return to the United States of America. Efforts to arrest the criminal illegal alien invaders are continuing to ramp up. ICE Chicago arrested a Mexican national convicted of predatory sexual assault of a child in Cook County, Illinois. This week, ICE Denver arrested a Mexican national convicted of sexual assault of a child in Houston County, Texas. ICE Miami arrested a Nicaraguan convicted of aggravated battery in Hillsborough County, Florida. ICE Houston arrested a Salvadorian national convicted of attempted sexual assault of a child in Escape in Dallas County, Texas. And ICE Chicago arrested a Mexican national convicted of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor in Illinois. Despite the Democrats' insane objections, President Trump will continue to embolden law enforcement officers to arrest dangerous legal alien criminals and keep our communities safe. And also thanks to President Trump's America First economic approach, investments continue to pour into our country. Swiss pharmaceuticals company announced they will be investing $50 billion in the United States over the next 5 years, creating 12,000 new quality jobs. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals also agreed to pay Fujifilm Technologies more than $3 billion over the next decade to help manufacture its medicines in the United States. It's a top priority for President Trump to ensure we are producing critical medicines and pharmaceutical drugs right here in America, and that is exactly what we continue to see happen every day. In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections.
Wow.
The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country.
$36
If
trillion
you take out a
in
loan,
debt.
you have to pay it back. It's very
have
simple.
to get the money.
President Trump will not kick the can down the road anymore. Before we open it up to questions today, I want to commend our pool photographer who is in the room with us today. ABC News photojournalist Melissa Young is retiring after 44 incredible years on the job, covering here at the White House. Melissa, congratulations. You have the largest round of applause I've ever heard in this room. So there's something we can all agree on, and it's you've had an incredible career here covering the White House. So congratulations to you, and we hope you enjoy retirement. I'm sure you will. And everybody else in the room will be very jealous of you as you're enjoying your rest. All right, let's get to it. We have an individual in our new media seat today. His name is Tim Pool. He's a political commentator and a media entrepreneur with millions of followers, a very big platform. Currently hosts Timcast IRL, a daily news and discussions show, and The Culture War, a weekly podcast exploring cultural and political issues. His programs feature in-depth conversations on topics such as free speech, censorship, identity politics, and societal change, often engaging with a diverse range of guests. He's in Washington today because we are also hosting a local media row across the street in the Eisenhower building, which is a testament to our commitment to bring new voices into the White House to cover the president and this administration. So Tim, why don't you kick us off today?
Yes, many of these organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by two different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you can comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy, and you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it, on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community. And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist. And the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you. Thank you. Dasha, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have two questions, one on the Pentagon and another on the economy. You said on Fox News that the entire Pentagon is working against Secretary Hegseth, but the people who were fired were Hegseth's own guys. So how do you square that, and what do you say to concerns that that's bad management?
They were Pentagon employees who leaked against their boss to news agencies in this room. And it's been clear since day one from this administration that we are not going to tolerate individuals who leak to the mainstream media, particularly when it comes to sensitive information. And the Secretary of Defense is doing a tremendous job. And he is bringing monumental change to the Pentagon. And there's a lot of people in this city who reject monumental change. And I think, frankly, that's why we've seen a smear campaign against the Secretary of Defense since the moment that President Trump announced his nomination before the United States Senate. Let me reiterate, the president stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth and the change that he is bringing to the Pentagon, and the results that he's achieved thus far speak for themselves.
Investigation into the leaks, the secretary said that these people would be prosecuted. So is the FBI investigating?
You have to ask the FBI, you have to ask the Department of Justice on what they plan to do, but certainly we take leaks with the utmost seriously across this administration. You've seen people fired from the Department of Homeland Security. The president has made it clear it's an unacceptable behavior.
Peter Navarro said that it's perfectly possible to do 90 deals in 90 days. We haven't seen one just yet. How soon might we see a deal, and what evidence can you share that progress is being made in these trade negotiations?
Sure. Well, I spoke to our entire trade team this morning. There is a lot of progress being made. We now have 18 proposals on paper that have been brought to the trade team. Again, these are proposals on paper that countries have proposed to the Trump administration and to our government. You have Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Ambassador Greer, NEC Director Hassett, and Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, meeting with 34 countries this week alone. We are moving at Trump speed to ensure these deals are made on behalf of the American worker and the American people. And just yesterday, it seemed to get a little bit lost in the news, and I think it's a disservice to the American public that it did. The Vice President announced terms of reference for a trade deal with India. That is a big deal. We know when we look at the numbers, the monetary trade barriers and the non-monetary trade barriers from India, they have been ripping off the United States and American workers for a very long time. So the fact the Vice President with Prime Minister Modi on that trip in India announced these terms of reference, which is essentially a framework to move the ball forward to sign a good trade deal between our two nations, is great progress, and it speaks to the work ethic and the real labor that's being put into this effort by the President's trade team. Sure. Go ahead.
The proposals that you talk about, is that enough to extend deposits on these reciprocal tariffs, or does the President need to see, these deals inked and signed to offer any sort of additional extension beyond the 90 days?
Well, look, ask me in July when the deadline hits. I know I'll be answering those questions from all of you in this room. There's a lot of time left, and the President's trade team is working again at Trump speed as quickly as they can to ensure that these deals can be made.
Are any of those conversations yet with China happening?
I actually do have something to share on that. I asked the President about this before coming out here, and he wanted me to share with all of you that we're doing very well in respect to a potential trade deal with China. As I mentioned, there have now been 18 proposals in more than 100 countries around the world who are wanting to make a deal with the United States of America, and the President and the administration are setting the stage for a deal with China. So we feel everyone involved wants to see a trade deal happen, and the ball is moving in the right direction. Sure.
Great.
Setting the stage for a deal with China, what does that mean? Has the President spoken directly with Xi yet?
I don't have anything to read out on a direct talk between the President and President Xi, but we will continue to keep you updated.
And Secretary Bessent reportedly today told investors that this trade standoff with China he expects will be de-escalating soon because, as he described it, reportedly the situation is unsustainable. Is the President considering taking steps to de-escalate the situation with China?
Again, I just read you words directly from the President of the United States. Those are moments ago. That's where his head is at right now. Sure.
Caroline, I have two questions, one on immigration and one on China. First on immigration. Roughly how many illegal immigrants and aliens do we have in our country, and how many does the administration plan on deporting?
That's a great question.
You have to ask the Department of Homeland Security for a specific number, but we suspect it's definitely in the millions, perhaps upwards of 20 million people allowed into the country.
Wow.
Even
20
by
million?
the previous administration. And the President and his team are focused on deporting as many as we possibly can. And they are moving.
We got a
swiftly as
$36 trillion
possible. The
deficit.
President's team has made it
This
clear
is
we need more
crazy.
funding from Congress to do more. We need more ICE agents out on the ground doing this very important work. And we also need rogue district court judges to stop acting as judicial activists, trying to block the administration from deporting illegal criminals from our nation's interior. The American public elected the President to do this, and he's following through with that promise.
We have over 250,000 Chinese nationals in our country right now on student visas. Does the administration believe there's any national security concern when it comes to those over 250,000 Chinese nationals in our country?
Well, as you know, when it comes to foreign visas, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke visas of those who we feel are acting in
They sell to 20 million?
for foreign policy interests here in the United States. He has that authority according to the Immigration and Nationality Act.
Biden is responsible. Let's blame it on Biden.
They are looking at individuals who are given the privilege of being on a visa in our country, and if they are acting, again, adversarial to our foreign policy interests, their visa can be revoked, and they should be aware of that. Sure, go ahead. Yes, I'm calling calling on you.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Over the last few weeks, several countries have warned their citizens about travel to the U.S. and the Department of Commerce's own stats know that show that from a lot of countries, the number of visitors is falling. So, do I have any message for people that might be reconsidering business or tourism travel to the U.S.?
Where did you see that report?
With the statistics from the Department of Commerce.
That's a great, she's like, where,
His source.
where did you see that?
That visitors from a lot of countries have fallen in the.
What's
from a
your
lot of
source,
countries have
dude?
fallen in the last 3 months.
I'd have to look at that report to comment on the merits of it. I think most people around the world recognize the United States of America is a great place to do business. It's a beautiful place to visit. A nation certainly come
Another
here because
foul
it's a much
black
safer country
soul
than it was 4 years
off the
ago. I think
plantation
Libby,
of
please.
93%.
Question about this upcoming announcement from HHS today.
Muffin Man.
During the first week of the administration, the FDA
People are so
announced its full
foolish.
plan to ban menthol cigarettes. So 2 questions for you. How do you square a ban on menthol cigarettes being pulled and then announcing this ban on food dyes? And then how does the president feel about this upcoming ban that RFK is going to announce?
Sure. Well, look, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the president nominated him because he trusts him to make this country healthy again. It's not just a slogan, it really is a movement that has
Okay.
broken ground across the country. There's millions of people who believe in RFK Jr., Secretary Kennedy, and what he's doing. I don't want to get ahead of HHS with this historic announcement later and the details of it, but obviously the Secretary feels that he has reason and evidence to announce the ban on artificial dyes later, and I'll let him speak to that this afternoon. Phil.
The president started the process of reclassifying more than 50,000 federal employees as Schedule F. We've already seen him march through a number of government agencies. I'm curious, should we expect mass firings, or is this a case-by-case approach, a scalpel or a sledgehammer?
Well, look, as you saw on Friday, the president put out a statement about it. The Office of Personnel Management reclassified workers. They're now called scheduled policy/career. And all the president is trying to do is ensure that federal workers are being held accountable for corrupt behavior. If they are engaging in corruption as a government worker, they should no longer have their job. I think that's pretty common sense. He also believes that bureaucrats should be acting in accordance to the will of the American public, who duly elected this president. Not just this president, but all future presidents. If you work for the government, you should be adhering to the will of the American public and advancing the administration's goals and interests. And if you are not doing that, then you should go find another job whose interests you align with. So as for specific firings, I would defer you to the specific agencies, but the president in this move and Office of Personnel Management, it will make it easier to get rid of rogue bureaucrats who are engaging in corruption. Sure.
Well, real quick, a federal court ruled last Thursday that Google's dominance of online advertising and ad tech markets violated U.S. antitrust laws. I know the president has spoken to a number of folks in big tech, and Google CEO was even at his inauguration. I'm curious, what is the president's reaction to that court ruling?
I'll have to ask him, and I'll get back to you, Phil. You're welcome. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Some economic questions for you. Kevin Hassett has been a key economic advisor to the president in both of his terms. In 2022,
And he still is.
and he still
He
is.
was just in my office.
Absolutely. In 2022, he said that the independence of the Fed is super important. That's a direct quote. Is that something that the president subscribes to? Does he still believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve?
Well, look, I think the president has made his position on the Fed and on Powell quite clear. The president believes that they have been making moves and taking action in the name of politics rather in the name of what's right for the American economy. The president has the right to express his displeasure with the Fed, and he has the right to say he believes interest rates should be lower. He believes Americans should be able to borrow money cheaper than they currently are right now. And I also spoke to Kevin Hassett about the Fed as well, and he has called into question the Fed's independence and whether they are actually doing things, again, out of the best interest of the economy, or are they doing it for partisan reasons. The president wants to see interest rates lower. He has made that quite clear.
We've also seen, if I may, I'm sorry, one more, Caroline, just about, I said 2 economic questions, about the dollar. We've seen the dollar at multi-year lows versus the euro and other currencies around the world. Is it the administration's policy for a strong dollar? How does it view the dollar versus other currencies around the world?
The president wants to see the dollar remain as the world's reserve currency for our long-term fiscal stability and our economic growth. He's been quite clear about that. Sure. And then to the woman behind you, who I haven't seen before, welcome. Go ahead, Mary.
Earth Day and then the Supreme Court, if that's okay.
That's right, it's Earth Day.
Yes.
Happy Earth Day, everyone.
I saw the president truthing about the garbage pileup from China and the Pacific, and then I believe Lee Zeldin is headed to San Diego to investigate the pile of sewage from Mexico. Can you speak to what the White House has planned for Earth Day and anything in that area?
Sure. I do have points from the EPA. Administrator Zeldin is doing a fantastic job, and they are always sharing their accomplishments with the White House, which we very much appreciate. He will be traveling, I believe he's in California today for sewage situation. Here we go. Administrator Zeldin met with his Mexican counterpart to discuss steps Mexico needs to take to ensure the water entering the United States is clean and safe. And he's holding a press conference in San Diego today with elected officials and local stakeholders on the Tijuana River sewage crisis. I would also add from the president himself, he has always maintained he wants America to have the cleanest air and the cleanest water. And we want to do what's right for our environment and for our earth. And a lot of that is making sure that we have clean and sustainable energy. And we know that we produce natural gas cleaner and more efficiently than any country in this world, and the president wants to see that continue.
Thank you. And then on the Supreme Court, I know the court is hearing a case dealing with parents who don't want their kids having to read gender ideology books in schools. Can you comment on that case and what the Trump administration hopes to see come from that?
Sure. We hope the Supreme Court will do the right thing. The president has been very clear. He stands on the side of parental rights, and he believes strongly that parents should have a greater say in their children's education.
That's right.
The content, if you will, that
Makes
children are
sense.
being exposed to in our public school system. Sure. Go ahead. Hi.
I'm Karoline Leavitt with World News Group. The administration ended some temporary protections for Afghans, including several hundred Christians who have been punished by the Taliban. Is the president considering any exceptions for Afghans who could face death or torture if they return to their home country?
So let's just be clear about one thing. We didn't end that proactively. It expired, and it's because the previous administration illegally paroled millions of people, or hundreds of thousands of people, I'm sorry, into the country, and then gave them temporary protective status, which again is a temporary status. It's not a permanent status in this country. And if there are individuals here who came in through the Biden administration who want to claim asylum, there is a legal process to do that, and those cases will be adjudicated by a judge on a case-by-case basis. We have a legal immigration process in this country for a reason, and all this administration is trying to do
Yes, there's a
is
legal
effectuate
process.
that. Reagan.
I have two questions for you
Sure.
on immigration. March deportation numbers were down slightly from the same time period last year. SCOTUS recently ordered a pause on deporting term-day arrival members with the Alien Enemies Act. I'm curious what other tools the administration is looking at to boost those deportation numbers.
Sure. Well, we are obviously complying with the court's order. However, it was a temporary pause. The Supreme Court basically said, sit tight, and they will follow up with an order, and we're confident that the Supreme Court will rule on the side of law and recognize the president absolutely has the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our nation's interior under the Alien Enemies Act. We feel very strongly about that, and we're confident the courts will side with the president and his executive authority. As for deportations, we continue to deport illegal criminals under Title VIII, which is an immigration authority given to our Border Patrol agents and the Department of Homeland Security to deport illegal criminals from this country. And the administration continues to do that at record speed as quickly as they can with the resources that they have.
They recently dropped charges against the MS-13 leader caught in Woodbridge, Virginia, with the idea that this will expedite the deportation process. Does the administration plan to drop charges against other criminal illegals to speed along the deportation process?
You'd have to ask the Department of Justice. Obviously, that's within their purview, and I can't speak for them. However, it is our goal to deport as many illegal criminals and aliens from our country as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. Jackie.
Thank you, Caroline. We've heard so much about this Saudi trip planning, and the president's mentioned it himself before, but I don't think we've ever heard on the record what he hopes to achieve in Saudi Arabia and what the purpose of the trip is.
Sure. Well, the president looks forward to this. It was supposed to be his first foreign visit, but of course now he is going to Rome this weekend to honor the Pope and attend the funeral.
Okay,
the
we're
president
gonna
looks to strengthen the
broadcast
ties
that.
between the United States and these countries in which he will be visiting. He'll be having many bilateral meetings and talks, and we look forward to the trip and hope to see many of you there.
The meetings in London this week, do they have any nexus with the plans in Saudi Arabia?
I can't speak to that. However, I do have an update on meetings when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war. I was just in the Oval Office with the President, Steve Witkoff, and they wanted everybody to know that the negotiations continue. We feel,
Trump,
again,
Trump,
we're
Trump,
hopefully moving in
Trump.
the right direction. And the special envoy, Steve Witkoff, will be heading to Russia again later this week to continue talks with Vladimir Putin.
Is that why Rubio is not heading to London? Is he accompanying Witkoff to Moscow?
I can't speak for the Secretary of State's travel schedule. I'd defer you to the Department of State.
And more broadly, just about the peace agreement, the talks that are ongoing. Secretary Rubio had said that if things don't go the right way, that the U.S. might need to take a step back. What does stepping back look like? Is that a step back from brokering peace, or would that imply a broader withdrawal from U.S. support for Ukraine and the war?
Look, I think it would be unwise for me to broadcast that from this podium. Ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make, but he's made it very clear he wants to see peace, he wants to see this war end, and he wants to stop the killing on both sides of this war, and he's been very clear about that for quite some time, and he has grown frustrated with both sides of this war, and he's made that very known. Brian.
Last week, the president talked about nonprofit groups, specifically taking on crew, and he hinted that there could be further actions taken against nonprofits. Does the White House have any plans for any sort of actions against NGOs, nonprofits, or other similar groups? Is any of that coming up? Is that being worked on at this time?
I'll have to check in with our policy team and get back to you. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Travis Gilmore with the Epoch Times. Are some colleges using taxpayer funds to further political agendas? And what is the administration's response to Harvard's lawsuit?
Sure. Well, the president has made it quite clear that it's Harvard who has put themselves in the position to lose their own funding by not obeying federal law. And we expect all colleges and universities who are receiving taxpayer funds to abide by federal law. It's quite simple. And the president made it clear he's not going to tolerate violations of federal law. He's not going to tolerate illegal harassment and violence towards Jewish American students or students of any faith on our campuses across the country. And so we will be responding to the lawsuit in court. And again, it's quite simple. If you want federal dollars, obey federal law.
Follow up on China. Any response to reports that China is targeting U.S. trade allies with potential retaliatory measures for supporting U.S. agendas?
I think the numbers and the sheer number of countries that have reached out to the United States and reached out to this administration to cut good trade deals speak for themselves. The entire world knows that they need the United States of America and they want to do business
Yes,
here.
they do.
And so we'll stay focused on cutting good trade deals on behalf of the American worker. Stephanie.
Any additional details from the president's call with Netanyahu today?
I did speak to the president about it. It was a good call. They spoke particularly about Iran and the negotiations that are underway with Iran and the United States. And the president has made it very clear repeatedly, but I'll reiterate, there is no daylight between the United States of America and the state of Israel. He stands strongly behind our ally. He's made it quite clear when it comes to Iran that we want to see a deal, and Iran has a choice to make, but the president has also made it very clear, and he reiterated that in his call with Prime Minister Netanyahu today about the need for Iran to never obtain a nuclear weapon. I do have one more bit of news that I would like to share with all of you. Just give me 1 second to find it. And it's in regards to the terrorist attack that took place in India earlier today. The president has been briefed by the National Security Advisor, and he's being kept up to speed as more facts are learned. What we know already is dozens were killed and even more were injured in a brutal terrorist attack in a popular tourist location in South Kashmir. President Trump will be speaking with Prime Minister Modi as soon as he possibly can to express his heartfelt condolences for those lost. And our prayers are with those injured and our nation's support for our ally, India. These types of horrific events by terrorists are why those of us who work for peace and stability in the world continue our mission. So we'll give you a readout of that call later this afternoon. There's a lot of work to be had. You may hear from the president later this afternoon as well.
Okay, so President, he's going to be talking, which is great. So they're going to bring on President Trump. Hi, you guys. Welcome to Speak the Truth 2.0. We got a lot out of that, right, Elijah? Carolyn, I mean, she does a really amazing job. I mean, she's sharp as a tack. She's on top of everything that's going on, and you can see she spends her time doing her homework, doing her research. She's not using a script, a teleprompter. She's just coming on with straight up facts, providing to the American people answers to many questions, like what's going on with the war in Ukraine, what's going on with the student loans, when is that going to go into effect?
It tells us too about the illegal immigrants and what they're doing to the United States of America and them shipping them out of here.
How you feel about the illegal immigrants?
How do I feel?
Yeah, what do you feel about them?
I feel just the word just unsafe. It's unsafe. I feel like it's unsafe now for, if I'm with a female, for her to walk back to her car by herself, for her to, maybe she wants to go jogging alone, for her to jog alone. I feel like now it's like you have to make sure that the people you're with are protected because they're taking out everyone. So unsafe is the word I feel from illegal immigrants. You know, I'm not saying that some immigrants don't come here to do good and do the American dream, but some here come here to do no good and to kill people.
Yeah, how do your generation, do you think that it's going to affect you guys as far as getting housing and potentially, you know, do you think cost is going to continue to go up or is it going to go down?
Well, they have all the jobs. I mean, all the jobs that for American citizens they have, like construction work and housekeeping, and they have a lot of the jobs.
Well, even Kilmar Garcia.
Yeah.
They talking about he's a union member of the Steelers.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You know, how is that possible? He's an undocumented immigrant. How did he get a government? Well, it's not government. How did he get the union job? That's taking away an American job from an American citizen taking care of his family. How do you feel about that when they say, oh, they're here to do certain work, but that's not the case? Do you think that there's a plan like with the Democrats? Like, why did they open up the borders? Why were the borders opened up? Was that part of the campaign when Biden, I don't know if you remember, when Biden ran for president, did he tell the American people that his goal was to open up the borders and to also fly in illegal immigrants at mass numbers without vetting them? Did I miss that when he was campaigning for the run for president? Somehow I think I missed that part of his campaign, that he was going to open up the borders.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear him talk about opening up the borders? I think I missed that.
Then why are you watching it, man? Like, you're literally watching right now.
Like, yeah, they want to hear it.
Yeah, he
You
said
know,
nobody
it's
wants
fine.
to watch this hateful BS, but he's watching it.
It's not hateful. It's having conversation. It's called communication. It's called, this is our opinion. See, in America, you have a right to your opinion. You can agree to disagree, and you can give your opinion. You know, what we do require is you to use the dictionary. You know, just express yourself. Speak in a clear, concise manner. See, in America, you have different opinions. You have Democrats that feel a certain way. You have independents that feel a certain way. You have Republicans that feel a certain way. So we come together, and this is what it is. It's conversation. Unlike the media that's biased, that they have one point for one side. We're listening to both sides. We're hearing you, and you're hearing us. And people are able to express themselves. That's what this is about. Now, if you don't want to hear the truth, then you can go listen to your news source.
See, that's how the illegal immigrants are. They're being racist.
Well, they're being racist because there's nothing there.
Yeah. You gotta remember, my mom's from New York, and I was raised in Philadelphia.
You know why people be racist? Because they think that insulting is somehow,
That's what they said. Like we supposed to be scared.
You know what? The thing about it, we're black. And you know, one thing about being black, we don't care if you're a freaking Martian. Thank you so much, read that. We don't care if you read that before I comment on that.
He said Trump only built 80 miles of wall, which we paid.
And Biden wanted to take the rest of the wall that they had torn down, and he wanted to sell it for pennies on the dollar, and Trump had to get a court injunction to stop them from selling the wall that was paid for by the American citizens. But the thing about it, when people try to say something racist, whatever, you can't be on here if you can't handle it. You got to be able to handle the trolls. But when you know who you are in Jesus and God, I am perfectly and wonderfully made. I love who God made me, and I'll say this every time. I love being black. I'm a beautiful black woman, and I thank God. I have never desired to be anything other than what God had made me, a black woman. Okay, so when people try to say something, we are intelligent, articulate. We set the tone for America as far as giving America swag. Everybody want to dance like us, be like us. They copy everything from our music to our dancing to our athleticism, everything. So it's a wonderful thing to be black and to be an American. We contribute over $1.7 trillion into this country. So we built this nation, so we do a lot for this country. So when you try to come with insults, it's like you don't like whoever you are. Because we could, people can dish it out, but they can't take it in. Well, if we shoot back at it, people say, oh, you're speaking hate, you're speaking this. But it's okay for someone, because they don't know how to speak in a clear, concise manner. They feel emboldened to say whatever they want to say. But we like hitting back. It's not no one-way fight here.
Jamal said, let's not make it about race, though.
Yeah, that's what we were responding because my son saw a comment or whatever, and people were saying, it had racial undertones with it.
Completely racist.
It was racist. But I don't care. That's like only time it can bother you if you aren't confident of whom you are. So that's just wasted energy. So moving forward, just, whatever you're for or whatever your opinion is, just say it. Say it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What did he say?
God bless you. I heard you sneezing.
God bless you. Yeah, just say it. This is called conversation. This is how you can see what the real tone of America is. Those agree to disagree. You got a whole Democratic Party that act like they're fighting like the election is still going on. If you go to my video that I did yesterday, look at the thumbnail, it was the previous presidents. And you had Bill Clinton, he deported 12.3 million illegal aliens. Not one injunction, 0 injunctions. No, there weren't any protests. There weren't any injunctions. Nobody was screaming on either side about him deporting illegal immigrants. He wasn't even talking about they were gang members or NS-13. He wasn't saying or cartel or terrorists or murderers or rapists. It was none of that. He deported $12.3 million. You can fact check that. Then that was the Democratic president. Then you had the Republican president, Bush. He deported 10.3 million. Republican. No, there weren't any protests, no pushback, no court injunctions. Nothing was said about him he didn't even have to say he was getting rid of terrorists. He didn't even have to say he was getting rid of gang members. No pushback. Then Obama, 5.3 million people deported, 0 injunctions. He put kids in cages. Nobody said anything. There was no protest. Where were the protests at? Where were all the outrage? Where was hands off? Where was 50-51? 50, what is it? 50 states, 50 protesters in one day. Where were they at? They're doing protests all the time. 0 injunctions. Trump comes into office. He deports 100,000. Now, remember, we went from 12.3 million, 10.3 million, to 5.3 million, to Trump, 0 injunctions. And then Trump deports 100,000 illegal immigrants. And he's saying he's getting out the criminals. Thank you.
They're insulting us.
He's saying, thank you for the donation. Keep the donations coming. We appreciate, keep our channel going. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you going to insult?
And then look, then zero injunctions. for President Clinton, Democrat, President Bush, Republican, Obama, Democrat, 5.3 million illegals deported, 0 injunctions. Trump, 100,000 people. Guess how many injunctions? You look at my video from yesterday with the presidents and injunctions. How many injunctions did Trump get with 100,000 deporting criminals, 100,000 illegal immigrants? He got 30 injunctions for 100,000 criminals that he deported. But all the other presidents, millions, 0 injunctions. Now tell me, what is this Donald Trump syndrome for real?
Yeah, and that's right, man.
What did he say?
He said people are brave because they're anonymous. Take it with a grain of salt.
They get emboldened online, but they wouldn't say stuff to their coworkers or to their boss or to their significant other, or let alone go to their neighbor and say something. So
to their children.
Their children telling them to shut up. So. Those are the ones that they speak out online. Those are the tough people that speak out online. But it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous when you look at the difference, and that's how you can tell the biases that's going on when it comes to Trump.
Yeah.
He's trying, first of all, it's unsustainable. They say it's probably up to 20 million illegals that have entered this country. We can't handle it. We have a $16 trillion debt. It has to be taken care of. Trump is the only president that's taking it on because it has to be done. America is not going to survive with this increasing debt. And we're at $16 trillion. Even leaving the office, former President Biden was giving $1 billion to Brazil, more billions to Ukraine. He was giving billions leaving the office when we have a $16 trillion debt. And by the way, what did he do with his family? He pardoned his entire family. And even had audacity to pardon his son for 10 years. For 10 years. For any prior incidences, I guess, that he's done. He must have done a lot of crime for the last 10 years. It's crazy.
Jake, I could get any girl that you dream of getting. Just gotta make that clear.
And someone in here that's more knowledgeable, what's the answer to the debt? What's the answer to solving America's debt? Bringing in 14 million more people that are homeless, that got put on our taxpayer dollars along with the rest of the wars and everything else? Is that the answer? That we spent $157 billion last year on illegal immigrants? They're getting more benefits. They've got more benefits than American citizens, and we're the ones that pay into the taxes and everything, and we don't get what they have gotten. That's why you had Americans crying about egg prices. That was Republicans, Democrats, Independent, everybody. Gas prices, interest rates, high inflation, economy. Everybody was complaining about everything. Americans, because guess what? Them freaking Democrats are still running around like they stuck on stupid and still can't hear the American people. We don't care about what's going on in El Salvador and about Kilmar and all that. We have 99 problems, and that's not one of them. Okay, he's back home in his government, and he can get due process from his president and from his country. But he's not even an issue. He's the poster child of them trying to legalize illegal immigrants to vote, because they already see that the American people will not elect these people back into office, especially at the highest position like president, because we're not into abortion, we're not into same-sex marriages, we're not into men and women sports, we're not into men and women locker rooms, we're not, all the things that we're not into transgenders, talking about there's no such thing as trans. They're men or they're women. It's only 2 genders. And we're not going to tolerate the delusion. So the only way they can win an election and keep that narrative, that delusion going and not, acknowledging God, is to have these outsiders to come in to vote in our elections, which a lot of them did. Because unbeknown to us, some of them were given Social Security numbers after being in the country for 5 years. They're collecting, you go in the Social Security office, they're collecting Social Security, they're getting EBT, they're getting all the benefits that are being denied without military.
That's why President Trump is not doing the real ID.
He's doing the real ID. The thing about it is that they're getting benefits and they're denying the men and women that have fought for this country. They'll burn American flag on the drop of a dime. And I have, because I have, as far as I've been taught, you're never supposed to let that flag hit the ground. You're not supposed to let it hit the ground. One time I was pulling down a flag. I had the honor of pulling down a flag, and the vets, I didn't even realize they jumping out. They go like, "Don't let that, flag hit the ground." That's how sacred they looked at the American flag, because it's showing honor. But you got people flying their flags. Look at the rally, flags from all these other countries. Then they need to go back there. They need to go back to those countries that they're flying the flag.
This is the liberal donation.
And they thank you very much. We appreciate your donation. They're flying the flags of other countries while burning the American flag. And you don't want to follow American laws, American policies, American values, because see, when you're vetted and you come in, you're taught about America. You're taught how to respect this country.
Someone keeps saying flag burning's protected in freedom of speech.
It's not. It's not. It's not. What country is that? What country is that? Why would someone be here in the United States and want to burn a flag? Go burn the American flag. Go burn your flag in your country. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, someone says it's actually illegal to burn our American flag.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Kids have died, and husbands and daughters and sons and nephews and have died for this country. I've never seen that before until the last few years. They're allowing them, and they were doing nothing about it, taking over campuses. People from other countries taking over our American universities and burning our American flags. Make that make sense?
My mom got a BMW, and I made $200,000 at 16. People keep saying get a job. They don't know who they're talking to.
Well, it's okay. Obviously, you need one. And we just pray in the name of Jesus that God bless you with a job, because we don't lack any good thing. My daddy says, "Beloved, above all, I wish that thou may prosper and be in health even as thy soul prosper." Not only are we doing extremely well, my whole family, extended family, all own single homes, drive luxury cars, are from the military to doctors, lawyers, teachers, police officers. My whole family is well-to-do. So don't let this fool you, okay? Don't let this fool you. We are well off, literally. But we're not talking about us. We're talking about everybody. All Americans should be doing well and not worrying about a meal the next day. No, we shouldn't have any Americans after opening. We could open up our borders and allow 14 million or 20 million homeless people to come in. And we got Americans that are living in forests. They're living in their cars. They're living on the streets. We got vets not getting the care and the medical care that they need. None of this should be happening. Do you know that I didn't know that we could have helped all of these American people that I would walk past, I walk past going to work, and I see them laying in the street, in the cold, through all types of weather. They literally was dying in the streets. And here I am trying to, you can't walk past people and don't help them. You got to help people. So every time I see them, I'm trying to buy them shoes, tell them come into my office, stay warm in here, bring them into my business, all this kind of stuff. And all this time, we could help our American citizens. I learned a lot. But now where's the money? Now we have all this debt. We're taking care of people that aren't supposed to be here, that have broken the law. They have broken the law. They are not here legally. Either we're going to follow our laws or not. It ain't like we follow this law and don't follow that law. Bill Clinton deported how many people? 12.3 million people. Did each of them have due process?
That's a new thing.
Did they have
due process?
Yeah, well, the
got
Democrats
due
always
process
come up
in
with
their-
something
in
else.
their country, they can have due process.
Yeah, ship them back. Let them get due process in their country. And then they could come back in legally, like you would have to in Russia, China, Germany, Europe, Switzerland, everywhere else, Canada, the UK. Let them come back. Let them come in legally. And this way they'll be grateful. When people give you stuff, that you're not grateful. Just like your kids. If you just give your stuff to them and they don't earn it, there's no gratefulness. You ever seen you give people stuff and they tear it up because they didn't pay for it? That happens when you give someone a car. They don't have the same value because they didn't earn it. They didn't pay for it. But when you bought the car yourself, then it's like, oh, I did this, my car. You're going to polish that car. You're going to make sure that car, the tires are tight. You're going to take it to the car wash or you're going to wash it yourself. That's the difference in when you earn it yourself.
When things comes easy, you don't appreciate it.
You don't appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. That's the troll that keeps donating and saying it's in the Constitution.
Hey, they could say what they want to say. We don't, it doesn't matter.
Okay, everyone, I gotta say it again, but I was the Republican first.
They telling that again?
Yeah, I was for Trump first. I had my Trump hat first. She actually threw away my Trump hat. She was a Democrat. You can look at the channel. She met Joe Biden. So we gotta stop all this talk saying that she got me brainwashed and she got me. No, I was actually in the Trump.
You can't be
first.
an independent thinker.
Yeah.
Because even though I was against, look, here he has a mom that's a legislative director. That's meeting. You could go 2 videos ago. You can see me doing a selfie with the president. You don't do a selfie with the president unless you gotta have a lot of clearance to do selfies with the president. Okay, I'm meeting with him too on other occasions, presenting him gifts, talking to him, whatever. With different dignitaries, different Congress people. I've done rallies. I'm an activist. I'm an organizer. That's the stuff. That's the type of work that I do, or whatever. So here I am doing all this, and I got my daughter involved, and she's ahead of a lot. My daughter is she's her, and my son was running around talking about Trump, and I did all I could to get canvassing, phone banking, having groups of people working for me, calling throughout the country. I did the whole 9 yards. I'm not just a voter. I'm out there making sure that man get elected into president. Here he is walking around with Trump hats, bringing that house to Trump, going against all my values, everything I was standing for, and my son. Yeah, okay, thank you so much. My son, he's walking around supporting Trump. You know how insulting that was and disheartening that was? And especially when Trump won that time, when he won the election, I was devastated. I was devastated because I believe he's Hitler. He's all these terrible things when he even ran against Hillary Clinton. I'm thinking, he was too young to vote and all that, but he's like, I'm like totally against everything that he represented starting back then. And that's what my son didn't know about. Then last election, like he, was older in 2020. And that's when he got his Trump hat, because I was dragging him to all the Democrat stuff, to every kind of function. I'm speaking at huge thousands of people. I'm speaking at rallies. I'm like, with all the different congressmen and women and senators and all that kind of stuff. And here he is, like the last election. So from 2016, I'm dragging him with all the Democrat stuff. Participating. And here he is, 2020. Now he busts out the Trump hat. And then Trump won. No, Trump won in 2016. I was devastated. 2020, I'm really out there. I'm going to make sure Trump don't win this time. And I threw his Trump hat away. This go around, after I saw the results of Biden, and I didn't sign up for open borders. I was pushing Biden because he, once again, you know how people keep promise you the same thing and you keep on expecting something differently and you get that same result. What they call that, insanity. So that's what thank you so much. So you still constitute you.
This is the Democrat keeps.
Yeah, that might not be a Democrat. I don't know what that is.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. God bless you. We appreciate it. But so it's just kind of funny, you know. So the last go around in the 2024 election, you know, I wasn't even paying attention to what was happening out here because we were dealing with life, you know, our own personal life, and it was just so amazing. I'm like, what the heck is this? Yeah. This man has opened up the border. The transgender is being celebrated on Easter. Even by renaming it Visibility Day, they running on abortion. I mean, it just went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I said, he's not in that. Because I serve God first. I said, the Democratic Party is not, you can look at one of my other videos. I said, the Democrats are not the same party of yesteryear. This party, since Obama changed into the LGBTQ party.
I think you just want to say, God bless your family.
Thank you. It changed into the LGBTQ party, and then Biden changed it into the transgender. I'm like, they completely, like when say Clinton was president, it wasn't no LGBTQ, it wasn't all this stuff. Yeah. Now the party has completely changed. The values and morals are gone, and they're not working for the American people. They're working for themselves. They don't put America first. They working for who is it? The LGBTQ.
And illegal immigrants.
And illegal immigrants.
And 4 Democrats flew over to El Salvador. 4 Democrats.
But what about Van Hollen? I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah. He's a senator of Maryland, where Rachel Morin's daughter was brutally murdered, beaten in the head 25 times, dragged into a tunnel, gushing blood, head busted open, the man raping her against the wall. I mean, he didn't just rape her, he brutalized her first, and then threw her on the ground, raped her some more, and then choked her to death. And then they looked at the death. The mother finally described the ordeal her daughter went through. You think he reached out to that family? He flying to El Salvador when the El Salvadorian is what killed her. And another young lady in his state. And he's out there talking about some due process. Well, we need to go back to Clinton, 12.3 million illegal immigrants that he put out. Where were their due process? Where was all this? So that's why we know the famous verse of Biden, that's a bunch of malarkey. You know, they don't care about you. They're not even fighting for American citizens. They walking around with a 27% approval rating and still don't know. They're not talking anything about American citizens. What, did they forget about us? They think that's our priority? Well, Kilmar is fine because Americans are making him a millionaire. What is his GoFundMe is up to? 250,000?
Like 300,000. Because there's other GoFundMes for him too.
Yeah, so he's becoming a millionaire, white beater. Remember the NS-13 gang member that has been proven. He was ordered to be deported in 2019, and they said that he has had due process. He's been before 17 judges, some of them twice. His wife said that she was scared of him, that he was, she had pictures and videos of what he has done to her. So now she don't want to talk about all that. This is the person they say that they want to show a picture. Oh, he's such a loving father. He's such a God. No.
God was the lowest of the lows.
And he was even involved, they believe, in human trafficking. So this is who they want to be the poster child. And he represents the Democratic Party. That's who he represents. He represents the Democrats. Kilmar represents the Democratic Party. Your Democrat leaders from Cory Booker want to run over there now too. And when you were saying the 4.
Yeah, the 4.
The 4 went over there and they wouldn't even allow them to they didn't give them the time of day. And the Republicans have said, we'll pay y'all tickets to go over there. Because Trump is going to keep on with his agenda. He don't care what Trump is like, we got a $36 trillion deficit. No other president is going to take this on. United States is drowning. We don't do something about it. There'll be nothing left for our children.
Like you said,
nothing left for the children.
Like you said before, it needs to be like Hunger Games. Like everyone got a different district. Keep the Democrats over here with the legal immigrants and keep the Republicans over here.
Look, I was saying this yesterday. If you look at the video, I was saying, you know what they can do? Take all the Democrats, build a wall, put all y'all with the legal immigrants, with all the trans, with all the LGBT, all of what y'all want, allow Kamala and Tampon Tim to be your president. And then y'all will be happy. And we'll just be a wall, or just, y'all take y'all a rocket to Mars or somewhere. Y'all will be happy. Put all y'all, or give y'all half, it's 25 states, y'all get 25, we get 25. Y'all get all that y'all want. Because I don't believe that we all need to go down with this ship. We all don't need, y'all give y'all that $36 trillion deficit that you want, that you don't want nobody, they not gonna do nothing about the debt. So they've already proven that. They're not doing anything about it. So give y'all that debt and then let us go on and live our lives on the other, y'all stay over there, build a wall. Trump, build that wall to divide the country and let them just live their lives. Since it's so great, because y'all want that for all of us.
Mayhem.
Y'all want, they said, love y'all. Y'all, amen. Yeah, he raised the dead. So yeah, y'all want all of us to go down with y'all Looney Tunes shit. We look, y'all love that. Build that wall. Give y'all 25 states. We have 25 states. Give y'all that $36 trillion debt. Let Kamala love you back. That'll make y'all happy, because y'all want all of us to suffer with your,
it's not
ideology.
Fair. As an American citizen, you're supposed to hold the government accountable.
Yeah, you're supposed to hold them
Someone
accountable.
Said, what are you teaching your
son? Raising a good son.
Someone said, what are you teaching your son to blame the government? You're supposed to hold the government accountable.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because they're using our money to do all of this. Did they ask you? Did they ask my permission to send $350 billion to Ukraine? And we're taking care of 240,000 of their citizens, and they're getting Social Security. They're not paying to that, and they're getting SNAP. They're getting benefits while they complain. And when we ask for stuff with our money, where is the help? Did North Carolina get the help?
I shouldn't find it funny, but you got the Taliban flexing with our military equipment.
Yeah. Biden, like Trump said, they were broke. They had no money. That crazy behind Biden. He gonna do a pull out, cause 16 soldiers their lives, cause at least 50 more of them to be seriously injured, losing arms, legs, everything you could think of. And Trump said even when their faces were missing. And then we're gonna leave billions of dollars of equipment. And they were able to rebuild now they're to the point that they can build a freaking nuclear weapon, Iran. That's the worst thing that Biden did. Out of open borders and everything else. He is really, look, he only up for so many years. I guess he said, look, I don't care what happened to this world. He trying to destroy the world. It's this, and he allowed that war to go on in Ukraine. They sent crazy Kamala over there. She's supposed to negotiate to stop it, but they saw how weak Biden is and Kamala. She ain't talk. This is insanity. This is what they allowed to happen. And then they were trying to push us into a World War III. That's what they wanted before Trump got elected. I'm like, why are they now giving permission for Zelensky to fire long-range missiles into Russia prior to Trump taking office? Well, Putin saw the game. They were trying to provoke him to start a war. This way, the Democrats can retain power, because if a war is going on, then Trump couldn't come into office. That's what just like Zelensky, they can't put him out of office because a war is going on. So all these people, once they get the power, it's about, look, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about power and money. It's always that. They don't care about what would happen to, what's this? Illegal aliens suspected of killing a 52-year-old Georgia grandmother, also charged with rape. Wow. They just having a good time in this country. But they don't want to tell you that. That will be one less person that lost their lives if they weren't here. That's the irony about all of this, so.
It's like the Hunger Games in America now.
Thank you for helping us to wake up to the bullshit, says statement of the Democratic Party. You know, this Democratic Party is not the People's Party any longer. It's not for the people.
Democracy, like, why do you say that? You gotta, like, people, when you say comments that's against us, going against what we're saying, like when you insult, we know you're just an idiot. But when you have a point on the other side, you gotta explain why you have that point. You know, because if you look at, compare the Republican Party right now, as of right now with Trump, compared to Kamala and Biden and Bernie and AOC, it's like it's apples and oranges. You know,
They don't even have a party leader.
Yeah.
They don't. That's why they all
Jasmine
run.
Crockett.
That's why they run in. Oh yeah, let's do her. They were doing Avengers. They don't have a leader. They all bucking now for leadership. That's why Van Hollen, that I never even heard of this senator, he's running over there. Now Cory Booker want to run over there. 4 other Democrats went over there yesterday. One from Florida, I think California. One I think was from New York. I forget where the other one was from. But they got their own constituents. Instead of worrying about their own states, why are you in El Salvador? You from California. Why are you over in El Salvador? You're from Florida. Why are you over in El Salvador? You're from New York. Why are you over in El Salvador? I forget where the other one's from.
Especially New York. Everything New York.
Yeah, New York is Gotham City without Batman. And why is that New York senator or whatever? What was she doing over there? And they had one on there. She act like she gonna cry. She's like, "Well, I was a doc." Like she cried for us. Cry for us. And you know what I want us to have? Cry for us. Doing something for us. Why wouldn't you want the people that you elected in office, irregardless of party, to be about making life better for you? So I can't believe that you are an American citizen if you would disagree with that. That's the whole point, is to make it better for us. That's the point. Not making it better for people that have broken the law, that have come into this country. Either you want people to follow the laws or you don't. Which one is it? You don't get to pick and choose which laws should be followed. And no, they can't have due process because it'll take 200 years. Nobody else was required to do that. And here, Trump is just trying to get out the worst of the worst. And look at all this pushback from the Democratic Party. They working for you. They not working for you. They working for them. And you supposed to be like, oh, look what they're doing. Oh, they're doing all. They're not doing anything for you. Nothing. You're not even on the agenda. But they got you all riled up talking about, yeah, Trump, yeah, he needs to be impeached. We need to stop. We voted for him in. Did you try to impeach Biden? Biden is he has a criminal family. How they get $22 million? And his son said no such thing as a laptop and all these pardons. Y'all not suspecting any foul play that a president has to pardon his entire family? How come y'all don't say nothing about that? Can somebody answer that for me? Y'all just let that go right over your head. No more conversation. If that was Trump that pardoned his entire family, every news media in the world would be dragging that story. Y'all would be dragging it. And it's funny, the facts, thank you, refreshing. God bless you.
Due process. They could have due process in their own country.
In their own country. They got all the due process, not off our dime. We already taking care of them. We $36 trillion in debt. We can't afford them. How about that? Does that sound better? We can't afford them. Come back, but come back the right way. Like you would in Germany, China, Russia, UK, Canada, even Venezuela. Come in, you can't go in Venezuela and get what happened here. Go there and try that. Try to do what they've done here. So people don't do that because that's true. I want to see you go to China and make demands. over top their citizens. They're gonna take care of you. Go to France. They're gonna take care of you over their citizens.
God bless you too. We say God bless your family.
God bless you. Oh, they said, do we do call-ins? We're new at this. We got to learn a lot. And we're going to bring people on. We're building up the channel. We're going to bring people on because when we try to upload, we found out people couldn't find us. That's why we asked people to not only subscribe, but hit the notification bell. So when we come on, you can find us.
Someone said what you're saying is, why do you want to be like Venezuela or China?
That's what we don't want. We're not saying that. What I'm saying that they have requirements that you have to follow. Do you understand that? My point is that you can't go just walk into any country and demand them to take care of you. You don't have to be a citizen. You could work there illegally. Give me housing, food, education, money, health care, everything, and then pardon me for everything. Give me a sanctuary city. And that's it. You can't do that in other countries. No other country can you do what happened here. Okay, we had bad people in office that have done horrible things to our country, and they kept spending and not taking responsibility. And we didn't just get $36 trillion in debt overnight. And Trump came in his first few days, had $500 billion coming in from Apple. How many presidents have ever had money coming into the country instead of us being the ATM, the cash cow of the world?
And Joe Biden been doing this since 1994. His crime bill.
He was in office like 80 years.
But everyone, our stream.
Yeah, only Americans should get due process. That's true.
Everyone, our stream, we're telling you the things that the mainstream news won't tell you. This is what CNN won't tell you, ABC won't tell you, CBS won't tell you. We're telling it. And we're coming here and telling you this from not an opinion that's just one-sided. We look at all sides, we hear everyone's comments, but we're telling you what the news won't tell you.
The truth.
The truth. Speak the truth. We're telling you the truth. I mean, it might hurt some people's feelings, but we're telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you can agree to disagree. Everybody, that's the wonderful thing about living in the United States of America, is that you have freedom of speech. You can have your opinion. We just ask you to use the dictionary. Don't follow what the Democrats are doing. Like, you follow the leadership, and it shows. When y'all have your rallies, everybody's using the F-bomb, they're cursing, they're being nasty, they're being arrogant. They don't even know what they're fighting for or fighting about, because they're not even talking about fighting for them. They're so brainwashed, and they've been so gaslighted that they don't even have their own party, the Democratic Party, fighting for the lower interest rates, fighting for housing, fighting for the things that matter. That's how insane they are at this point. And this was like a couple of weeks ago. This is what these people, like, this is like a briefing that she did. Let's see, how come I can't?
Of our brave military men and women who risk their lives.
Yeah, and they don't even respect our brave men and women.
In a mobilized tactical vehicle in Lithuania in the early hours of March 25th. Tragically, 3 soldiers were found deceased in Lithuania yesterday, and it pains me to confirm that today, the 4th soldier was also found deceased. The President, the Secretary of Defense, and the entire White House are praying for the victims' friends and family during this unimaginable time.
Yeah, Miss.
This is another stark reminder of the selfless sacrifice of our brave military men and women who risk their lives around the world every day to keep us safe. God bless them. On another note, at our southern border, there is more massive news. Southwest border crossings in March fell to the lowest level in American history.
This is the White House.
Down 94% from March of last year under President Biden, when 137,000 illegal aliens poured across our wide-open southern border. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, Border Patrol agents are now back to doing the job they signed up for, securing the border, rather than serving as travel agents for illegal aliens. The Los Angeles Times captured the Trump effect on the border with a recent article. Their headline read, "California-Mexico border, once overwhelmed, is now nearly empty." With so few migrants coming into the U.S., they wrote, shelters that once served migrants have completely closed.
This is the Los Angeles
Deportations
Times.
of illegal aliens who threaten the safety of the American people are also continuing at a rapid pace. Over the weekend, the United States military transferred a group of 17 violent criminals from the Tren de Aragua and MS-13 terrorist organizations to El Salvador. And an illegal alien who was released by the Biden administration into our country was just arrested in Georgia and charged with the horrific killing of Camelia Williams, a mother of 5 and grandmother. The suspect has now been indicted on charges of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, rape, aggravated sexual battery, and necrophilia, which for those who don't know, necrophilia is a sexual obsession with a corpse. This suspect was ordered to be removed in July 2023, but the Biden administration allowed him to stay. This case represents the ruthless murderers, rapists, and pedophiles who Joe Biden and Democrats let into our country over the past 4 years through our southern border. They should have never been here in the first place. Keep this in mind the next time you see Democrats protesting future illegal alien removals from our country. President Trump is focused on fulfilling his greatest obligation, to keep the American people safe and to defend our country from violent invaders. Looking ahead to tomorrow, April 2nd, 2025, will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history. Our country has been one of the most open economies in the world, and we have the consumer base hands down, the best consumer base. But too many foreign countries have their markets closed to our exports. This is fundamentally unfair. The lack of reciprocity contributes to our large and persistent annual trade deficit that's gutted our industries and hollowed out key workforces. But those days of America, beginning tomorrow, being ripped off are over. American workers and businesses will be put first under President Trump,
Amen.
Just as he promised on the campaign trail. The president's historic action tomorrow will improve American competitiveness in every area of industry, reduce our massive trade deficits, and ultimately protect our economic and national security. President Trump's economic vision is rooted in common sense. America will offer companies the lowest taxes, energy costs, regulations, if they make their products right here in the United States and hire American workers for the job. It's simple. If you make your product in America, you will pay no tariffs.
Hear that?
We have already seen a number of the largest companies in the world respond to this economic approach. For example, Project Stargate, led by Japan-based SoftBank and US-based OpenAI and Oracle, announced a $500 billion private investment in the United States-based artificial intelligence infrastructure.
Trump.
Apple announced a $500 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing and training. NVIDIA announced it will invest hundreds of billions of dollars over the next 4 years
God bless you,
in
Joanne.
U.S.-based
Trump.
And the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing
Look
company
at that.
TSMC announced a $100 billion investment in U.S.-based chips and manufacturing. These are just a few of the investment announcements that have already been made.
Let me take a
and it is
picture of
clear
that, Elijah.
President Trump's America First approach
Elijah.
is already working.
Take that picture.
In our new media seat today is Mark Halpern, the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Two Way, a new live video platform that builds communities around interactive conversations with leaders and content creators from every subject area. Mark and his colleagues welcome all voices into discussions that are spirited but respectful. They have over 37...
That troll.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry, I have to go back because we gotta get that list. That list is like, so when we do,
Oh wow.
you got a picture of it or you just looking at it?
I was just looking. Pause it.
It is paused.
This is amazing.
Yeah, so we'll use that. This is so we can see the names of the company and how much money has come into this country. This is important. We need to highlight that.
Editor-in-chief of Two Way, a new
Yeah,
live video platform
we need to
that builds
highlight
communities
that.
around interactive
So when we
conversations
are
with
able to
leaders and
speak, we
content
can run
creators
off
from
the
every
names
subject area.
of the companies
Mark and his
and
colleagues
then how
welcome
much
all
they're
voices
investing
discussions
into
that are spirited but
America.
respectful. They have over 37.5 million video views over 3.6 million
Wow.
watch time hours since the platform began just last year. This is new media in its truest sense.
We're going to
allowing
be
people
on
to
there.
ask
We're going to
questions,
be on there
make
for,
comments, and be
as
an active
new
part of
media.
engagement on the most important issues facing the country and our world. With that, Mark, please kick us off. and
That
welcome to the
$36
briefing room.
trillion debt is hypothetical as well, right? By the way. Okay, we got the memo.
It's perceived by some that companies or countries, if they change their policies, either before tomorrow or after tomorrow, can have the president alter what he's planning for that country or that sector. Is that a possibility? And if so, what factors the president consider in making those changes?
Well, the ultimate change for these companies and these countries, Mark, will happen when they decide to do business
So
in the
Biden
United States
fixed
of America.
inflation.
And as I just laid out,
Biden
they will
wasn't
face
even
no tariffs
president.
at all if these companies choose to invest here in the
Biden,
United
they
States
talking about Biden.
and to
Biden
move their
wasn't even.
production and their
Did y'all see
manufacturing here
Biden
to the United States
at
as
the
well.
debate?
As for
He
tomorrow,
fixed
the
what?
president will be addressing the decades of unfair trade practices that have ripped our country off and American workers off. It has hollowed out our middle class. It has destroyed our heartland, and the president is focused on reshifting our global economy to
And that's
ensure
what
that
he's going
America
to
is
do.
once again the manufacturing superpower of the world.
So if they do something today or later in the week that's a pledge for future activity, would that be good enough potentially to alter the policy?
Again, the president has been looking at the very unfair trade practices of the past. Certainly, the president is always up to take a phone call, always up for a good negotiation, but he is very much focused on fixing the wrongs of the past and ensuring that American workers have a fair shake.
Have a fair
Calls
shake.
after tomorrow and says,
Someone
"Hey,
is
I'm ready to
doing
make a change." You'd
something.
be open to that.
The president is always
Something.
open to taking calls.
A question from one of our community members, Katie Reeves, is a school teacher in Wisconsin. She's taught K through 8 in public, independent, private, and private
100
schools.
days.
And here's what she wants to
Not
wanted me to
4
ask you.
years, people.
She says, I see the elimination of the Department of Education as an excellent first step in the improvement of our school system. Do you see any further role the federal government can take beyond this, possibly in promoting the expansion of voucher programs?
Yeah,
or
they can't
using
hang
the
out in the
influence
women's
that teachers' unions
bathroom.
hold
I
over
know that's
our
a big issue.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Katie for her service to our country and
I
our
don't know what
nation's
kind of
children.
God you serve that's
Being
for
a teacher is the
abortion,
most noble
same-sex
profession that we
marriages,
believe one can
men
have.
and
The
women's
president
sports.
said in
All
his
that is
remarks when
sin.
he
God is
signed the
not
executive
about
order to dismantle the
sin.
Department of Education that he
Fake
loves
Christian.
our teachers. And in part, this order is to empower our teachers to have greater decision making in the
Like
classroom.
God, that's the devil.
Nobody knows our nation's children
That's
and our
about
students
that
better
party.
than our teachers who are with them every single day. As for the federal government's role, to get to the heart of Katie's
God is
question,
holy.
the president has made it clear to Lyndon
He's
McMahon
holy.
that we need to find other places within our federal government for critical programs regarding education. Pell Grants,
Thank God
Title
it's in
IX,
abortion.
lawsuits,
Right.
etc.,
He's
civil
holy.
rights lawsuits. All of that are critical functions, special needs programs, nutrition programs. But there are other places throughout the federal bureaucracy where those things can happen and work. The Department of Education has been a very bloated bureaucracy. We've spent trillions of dollars on this department, and for what? Our children are worse off as far as education goes
They
today
are worse
than
off.
they were when this department originated, and that's very concerning to the president. So,
Two issues she cited are those priorities for the president: school education choice, vouchers, and diminishing the role of teachers unions.
the president is very supportive of both of those things, particularly when it comes to school choice. He has said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time, and he wants every child, regardless of zip code, socioeconomic status, how much money their parents
Good.
have, to be able to go to the school of their choosing that best suits their educational needs. And he is going to empower state and local leaders to make those decisions on behalf of our nation's children. Thanks for being here, Mark. Jeff.
Just changing subjects for 1 second. The administration has expressed a complete confidence in how all the deportation flights to El Salvador were conducted. But now that the administration has conceded that there was an error of one Salvadoran national, will there be any reviews conducted? And does the president express any thoughts on the one error that was disclosed in court last night?
Well, first of all, the error that you are referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. That is fact number one. Fact number two, we also have credible intelligence proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking. And fact number 3, this individual was a member, actually a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which this president has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Fact number 4 is that foreign terrorists do not have legal protections in the United States of America anymore, and it is within the president's executive authority and power to deport these heinous individuals from American communities. It is a promise he campaigned on. It is a promise he is keeping. And every single person in this room should be grateful for that, considering especially MS-13 is very prevalent and prominent here in the District of Columbia, in Maryland, and in Virginia. And the president, the attorney general, everyone who has been involved in these operations is focused on eradicating these criminals and terrorists from our communities.
The Vice President said he was a convicted member of MS-13. What evidence is there to back that up?
There's a lot of evidence, and the Department of Homeland Security and ICE have that evidence, and I saw it this morning. Steve.
Has the president fully made up his mind on the level of tariffs to impose tomorrow? We keep hearing about a 20% flat rate.
The president said last night he has made a decision and a determination. I was with him in the Oval Office earlier, and he is going to announce that decision tomorrow. I don't want to get ahead of the president. This is obviously a very big day. He's with his trade and tariff team right now, perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect deal for the American people and the American worker, and you will all find out in about 24 hours from now.
And are the car tariffs going to go into effect on April 3rd as scheduled?
Correct. Yes, they will.
Okay. And lastly, would you like to respond to the Chinese military drills around Taiwan?
Yes, I would. As a matter of fact, the National Security Council briefed me on this morning, and they said that the president is emphasizing the importance of maintaining peace in the Taiwan Strait, encouraging the peaceful resolution of these cross-strait issues, reiterating our opposition to any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion. That is directly from the National Security Advisor. Just for you, Steve Holland of Reuters. Monica.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Elon Musk this week revealed that Doge found that the Biden administration issued over 2 million social security numbers to illegal aliens, found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the social security system. Has the White House confirmed these numbers with Elon, and is the White House looking into correcting this?
I'm not sure about those specific numbers that Mr. Musk cited. I can tell you what the Social Security Administration has said themselves, according to an Inspector General's report that was conducted last year, showing there was nearly $80 billion worth of fraud in this program. We know for a fact there are individuals who should not be receiving benefits on the Social Security rolls, and this administration is focused on cleaning out the waste, fraud, and abuse in every agency, but particularly in Social Security, to make it stronger for our tax-paying, law-abiding citizens who deserve these entitlements and programs. Because you did bring up Doge, I do want to tout the incredible efforts that have been made at the Environmental Protection Agency, and Administrator Lee Zeldin is just doing a tremendous job. Just yesterday and today it will be going into effect. He announced that taxpayers will be saved $8 million in annual lease costs by moving staff out of the 323,000 square feet of space that the EPA currently occupies, which is completely unnecessary. Yesterday, Administrator Zeldin also announced he will be shutting down a museum that the Biden administration built to tell a selective story about the EPA's history and climate change. It was a real pat on the back to President Biden. And guess how much American taxpayers paid for it? $4 million for this museum that I think only 1,000 visitors saw last year alone. It will cost American taxpayers $600,000 per year to operate this museum. Well, it's not going to exist anymore. We're going to save taxpayers those critical funds. And Administrator Zeldin is very proud to announce that. And just at EPA alone, and the cuts that they have made, they've saved taxpayers more than $22 billion in wasteful grants and spending. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. When the president goes down to Florida on the weekends, does he ever hear from, there are so many retired folks down in Florida, does he ever hear from any retired Americans who are stressed about these wild swings in the stock market because of the tariff uncertainty, and they're sitting there on fixed income or living off a 401k, and they don't know how much money's going to be left?
Well, certainly they are legitimate concerns, and the president takes those concerns very seriously, and he's addressing them every single day. And tomorrow's announcement is to protect future generations. The senior citizens you mentioned, it's for their kids and their grandkids to ensure that there are jobs here in the United States of America for their children to live the American dream, just like they presumably did. And as for their worries about their 401ks, their Social Security, I just addressed Social Security. This president is always going to protect it for our tax-paying senior citizens. As for their 401ks, look at what President Trump did for you in his first term. He is working on implementing that economic formula every single day by lowering inflation, lowering energy prices, massive deregulatory efforts, while simultaneously effectively implementing tariffs. And they'll hear more about that announcement tomorrow.
And you said that the president right now is with the trade and tariff team. They are very confident that this is all going to work. But what if they're wrong?
They're not going to be wrong. It is going to work. And the president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying these issues for decades. And we are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower. And again, Peter, I would point you to the investments that have already trickled into this country. And the president hasn't even made his tariff announcement yet tomorrow. There have been billions of dollars in private investments from around the world pouring into American communities. What does that look like for those watching at home, for the people you mentioned, worried about their own economic circumstances? It means more jobs in your communities, which means more money, more investments, more money in your pocket. That's what the president is committed to. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the president's commitment to tax cuts, which we are counting on Congress to do, especially on Social Security.
And one more.
Sure.
Are the special elections today a referendum on the president?
I think first of all, as you know, I'm a government employee now, so I'm not very much allowed to comment on elections that are taking place. That's something to get used to, having just been on the campaign trail for quite some time. But the president is the leader of the America First movement and the MAGA movement. And that was made very clear on November the 5th when he received nearly 80 million votes. I could also say that it is the constitutional right of every law-abiding American in these places where these elections are being held to vote, and every American should exercise their constitutional rights. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. A few questions about this deportation case. First, I wanted to clarify something that you said to Jeff a few minutes ago. You said you'd seen evidence that this man was a convicted gang member. In what court was he convicted and for what?
This individual was an MS-13 ringleader. This individual was also engaged in human trafficking. And I'm glad you brought up this point again, because I would like to point out that if you just saw the headline from the insane, failing Atlantic magazine this morning, you would think this individual was Father of the Year, living in Maryland, living a peaceful life, when that couldn't be further from the truth. They didn't even mention in the title of that article, or even in the first paragraph, that this individual is an illegal criminal who broke our nation's immigration laws. He is a leader in the brutal MS-13 gang, and he is involved in human trafficking, and now MS-13 is a designated foreign terrorist organization. Foreign terrorists have no legal protections in the United States of America, and this administration is going to continue to deport foreign terrorists and illegal criminals from our nation's interior.
You guys all heard that?
You should remain in this country. So are you saying that it is okay to ignore a judge's ruling if you don't like it?
Who does that judge work for?
He's an immigration
It was an immigration judge who works for the Department of Justice at the direction of the Attorney General of the United States, whose name is Pam Bondi, who has committed to eradicating MS-13 from our nation's interior. And let me tell you why we've made this commitment. MS-13, may I remind each and every one of you, is a brutal and vicious gang. They raped and strangled a 20-year-old autistic woman to death in Maryland. They hacked 4 people to death with machetes in a park on Long Island. They have kidnapped, sexually tortured, and shot a teenage girl in Texas after she insulted them, allegedly. Killed and mutilated a 17-year-old girl in Virginia, stabbing him 16 times and cutting off his hands. They beheaded and cut out the heart of a man in Washington, D.C. They raped and murdered a 13-year-old girl in California. They sex trafficked a slew of young girls, including one who was just 12 years old. Raped an 11-year-old girl in Brooklyn while her brother was in the room. Sex trafficked a 13-year-old in Maryland and Virginia, miles away from this White House, even beating her 26 times on her backside with a baseball bat. Pressured homeless New Yorkers to undergo unnecessary surgery such as spinal fusion in order to bolster their fraudulent lawsuits. These are vicious criminals. This is a vicious gang.
What do
And I
y'all
wish
have to
that the
say
media would
about
spend
that?
just a
That's
second
here.
At the same time you have spent trying to litigate each and every individual of this gang who has been deported from our country
Yeah,
as the
two
innocent
different
Americans
judges, but
whose lives have
stayed
been lost at the
anyway.
hands
Ice,
of these
ice,
brutal
baby.
criminals. We maintain our position, and very strongly so. Jennifer.
One more on the tariffs. Can you say what
You know,
the
what they
latest
just
thinking
said,
is on the
I
start
think
date?
we
know
need
you
to
were
hear
just in
that
April.
again.
Are they all gonna take up?
We need to hear that again. I had no idea of what she just said. This is all news to me. I don't know if you guys knew all
Effect
this.
this week on the reciprocal tariffs and whenever they
I
start, is
didn't
that enough
know
time for companies
that all
that
that
haven't
happened.
resolved to adjust to that start date?
My understanding is that the tariff announcement will come tomorrow. They will be effective immediately. And the president has been teasing this for quite some time, as you know. He's talked a lot about April 2nd as
Yeah, but it
Liberation Day
still
in America.
happened.
It would be taking place today if not for April Fool's Day.
Yeah, this is
but
still
tomorrow
news.
will be the day, and he's been talking about it for a while. And
Like
as a
this is
result, you've
old
seen
news.
these companies make
Yeah,
commitments to investing right here in the United States. Jasmine.
I had no idea. I didn't hear this whole news.
Market indicators, is the White House looking for to see if his tariffs plan is successful down the line?
Well, look, the president has been asked to answer this question about the stock market and whether he's watching it. And I've said, and he has said, the market is a snapshot in time. Yesterday, Dow futures were up. And there's been a lot of talk about the market, and it was up yesterday. So, look, the president wants to ensure that all Americans make out well, particularly Main Street. That's the focus of these tariffs. But as I've said repeatedly, just like they were in his first term, Wall Street will be just fine. Shelby.
Thanks. A bipartisan pair of senators sent a letter to the president today arguing that the recent strikes in Yemen are emboldening the Houthis and saying that Congress has not authorized war against them. Is the administration planning to consult with Congress at some point or
Not American.
regarding the strikes? And
We're going to
any
do
response on
14
the
million
letter?
people,
Well, I would
200
absolutely
years,
reject
right?
Congress's claims. Who made those claims in Congress?
Senator Jeff Merkley and Rand Paul.
Okay, well, I would absolutely reject those claims. These Houthi strikes have been incredibly successful. Last time I was at this podium, there were more than 100 successful strikes. There have now been over 200 successful strikes against the Houthis. Iran is incredibly weakened as a result of these attacks. And we have seen they've taken out Houthi leaders. They've taken out critical members who were launching strikes on naval ships and on commercial vessels. And this operation will not stop until the freedom of navigation in this region is restored, which is a critical principle. And this president stands behind our Defense Department, who's doing a tremendous job.
Is the White House going to confer with Congress going forward on this?
I would have to ask our team here at the White House, but the president is well within his authority, as is the Secretary of Defense. Again, these are defensive strikes. The Houthis have been launching attacks on U.S. naval vessels and commercial ships for quite some time. Go ahead.
Yeah. The pause on the Canadian and Mexican tariffs, the fentanyl tariffs, that's set to expire tomorrow. Is the president considering extending that pause?
Look, I will let the president speak on the specifics of the tariffs tomorrow. But as for fentanyl, we have seen this has certainly caused a national security crisis here in the United States. Fentanyl continues to be the #1 killer of young people in this country, and the president is very much focused on that. Deanna.
Thank you, Caroline. The president recently signed an executive order on making D.C. safe and beautiful. On the campaign trail, he talked about making New York great again. Does he have any plans on establishing a similar task force? Has he been pressuring Governor Hochul in any way in his conversations about New York and lowering crime?
Well, he has been in correspondence with Governor Hochul quite a bit on the issue of crime, also on the issue of congestion pricing, and so many other issues that are facing New Yorkers. And he wants New York to clean up their streets just as he does here in Washington, D.C. He also speaks to Mayor Adams as well. So he's engaged with state and local leaders across the entire country to ensure they're doing their part to help American citizens in each and every state, regardless of if it's a red state or a blue state.
A question on Russia. Yesterday, the Russian government said that their new goal is 160,000 conscripts for the war. Has the president seen that number? And does he have any response given his recent conversations on peace talks?
Well, I can tell you what the president said last night, and that is he is frustrated with leaders on both sides of this war. He wants this war to end. There are men that are dying on both sides, and it's been going on for far too long. Our team continues to be engaged with the Russians as we are with the Ukrainians, and the president continues to be very, very much engaged on this topic every single day.
Caroline.
Sure.
Caroline,
The president said over the weekend that he couldn't care less if prices went up on foreign cars because people buy more American cars. There's been consensus from a lot of economists that these tariffs could raise prices on other goods as well. Is the president comfortable with Americans on Main Street paying more because of these tariffs?
The president is doing everything he can, and this entire administration is doing everything we can to bring down the cost of living in this country. An inflation mess that was fueled by the previous administration's reckless spending, overburdensome regulations that this administration is focused on slashing every single day. I just read you a statistic just from the Environmental Protective Agency alone. We're saving taxpayers money that's ultimately going to drive down inflation, and we're unleashing the might of our energy industry, which will bring down prices as well. To the heart of your question, because this is very important to the American people, you should trust what this president did for you in his first term. He effectively utilized tariffs while driving down inflation. It was a record low 1.4% when he left office, and he's focused on getting back to that. It's unfortunate the previous administration left us in this mess. Sure.
Representative Anna Paulina Luna left the Freedom Caucus over their lack of support for a bill that would allow new parents to proxy vote around 12 weeks around the birth of their baby. Does the president support that bill?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually talked to the president about that bill, but I certainly can get a take on if he supports it or not.
Thank you. And one more. The D.C. Circuit ruled last week that the president can fire holdover Biden appointees of independent agencies. Will this ruling empower President Trump to dismiss more federal employees?
Well, the president has given the responsibility to his cabinet secretaries to hire and fire at their respective agencies, and they reserved that right. You saw the Secretary of Health and Human Services announce more layoffs today. This is all part of the administration's effort for a mass reduction in force in the federal bureaucracy here in Washington, D.C. to save American taxpayers money. As for agencies within the president's executive authority, the president retains that right. And we've seen there have been bureaucrats at some of these agencies that have been trying to act independent. They need to remember who they work for. It's the executive of the executive branch. You look at the United States Institute of Peace, for example. There was a little bit of a standoff with bureaucrats over there who didn't want to realize who they work for, and that is Donald Trump. And President Trump is focused on streamlining these agencies to save American taxpayers money, and he has every right to do that.
Caroline.
Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. In Gaza, the bodies of 15 rescuers have been found in their sort of ambulances where they were apparently killed by Israeli forces. Just wondering if the White House is going to be calling on Israel to investigate that and to try and avoid similar casualties involving rescue workers in the future.
Well, as for the specific situation you just mentioned, I'll talk to the president about it and our national security team. What I can tell you is what I've spoken with the president on. He very much remains committed to backing Israel, and it was only because of this president and his team's leadership that we had a temporary ceasefire in Gaza, that we were able to bring many hostages home, and the president made it very clear to Hamas, you get the hostages out, all of them, or there will be hell to pay, and Hamas is certainly witnessing what it feels like for all hell to be paid, and the president supports Israel's right to defend itself.
Progress at all on a ceasefire at the moment, as far as the president's concerned?
The president and his team continue to be engaged on this every single day. Sure. Go ahead.
So, I'm just wondering, related to that, if you have an approximate date for the president's first foreign trip. I think there was a little confusion yesterday about what month he was talking about. And then, will he need a ceasefire to be in place or closer, either in Gaza or in Ukraine, before that takes place?
The president will be heading to Saudi Arabia in May. As for specific dates and details, we will be reading those out to you as soon as we possibly can. I know our teams are working on the details of that trip. And then again, as for a ceasefire, the president's made it clear that's what he wants to see in Russia and Ukraine, and his team continues to be engaged on it every day.
Signal, you said case closed yesterday. As that case was closed, do you have anything that you can share about what was learned, how this can be avoided in the future, any sort of findings from that investigation?
The case is closed, and the president continues to have confidence in his national security advisor. Yes, Kelly.
Kelly. Caroline. So
sorry, Ed. And I'll come to you after.
The president
I'm glad you're so eager to ask a question.
It's Liberation Day.
Yes, it is.
Caroline, the president has said foreign countries and companies will eat the cost of tariffs. In his speech on Inauguration Day, he said, quote, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries,
we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. Right. So then why did he have to tell the domestic automakers not to raise prices?
Well, that was a private conversation that was had. I'm not sure if that comment was made or was not made. But as for what the president said in his Inauguration Day speech, he's absolutely correct. A tariff will be a tax on these foreign nations, these foreign companies, and if they want to be absolved of that tariff, then they can come here to the United States of America to do business, bring their jobs here. Edward, go ahead.
Thank you. So Canadians have been negotiating with the Commerce Secretary over the trade, the tariffs. How many companies are mutually talking with the U.S. or countries are mutually talking with the U.S. to lower tariffs?
I don't have a specific number, but I can tell you there have been quite a few countries that have called the president and have called his team in discussion about these tariffs. But again, there's one country the president cares most about, and it's the United States of America, and doing what's best for the people who elected him to this office to restore their jobs, their wealth, and their prosperity. I'm looking at the clock. I have a hard out today. I have a hard out today because I'm actually heading over to the State Department with the First Lady of the United States. She will be delivering remarks at 1 o'clock this afternoon at the 19th International Women of Courage Award ceremony with our great Secretary of State Marco Rubio. It starts at 1. This is the 5th year Mrs. Trump is participating and standing with brave women leaders who embody American values abroad. And the First Lady in her remarks today will highlight the profound connection between the love and courage that will be shown by this year's honorees. I encourage everybody to tune in at 1 o'clock, and then we'll see you all tomorrow for Liberation Day.
So anyway, thanks guys. I think that she's doing a really great job. Let me stop this right here. I think she's doing a great job. I mean, I just feel as though that this administration has been a lot more transparent than the previous administrations. I don't know if you guys feel that way. Do you feel like this administration is more transparent than the previous administration? Say yes or no. Are they more transparent than the previous administration? Or was Joe Biden administration? No, we ain't gonna go there. Were they more? You don't believe that they're more transparent with Trump's administration? No teleprompters, no scripts. Everyone talks off the cuff. No pre-records. How many times did you see Biden addressing the media? Did Biden address the media more than Trump? Nobody saw Biden, so nobody could say Biden. Trump had more meetings with the media in his first few weeks than Biden did in 4 years. Did you know that? Fact check it. Do the comparison. Out of 4 years, Trump has done more meetings than Biden has done in a matter of a few weeks. And Biden always spoke with a teleprompter. He did not just speak to the public. And he only took questions from reporters that were already approved by the White House, that he would take questions from, because they were already questions that he was given to respond to. You know that, right? Because if you couldn't see the condition of that man, then something is wrong with you. If you could not see the condition of Biden. They would ask him questions, Biden wouldn't answer. Biden only could speak from the teleprompter. He would speak from the teleprompter to the point that if they would say, speak louder, he would read, speak louder. He was reading the commands of the teleprompter. So he didn't even speak to the American people. Everything was staged. And everything Kamala said was staged. It was just ridiculous. But we're not saying anybody is 100%. But I think that this is a far cry than what we have experienced in the past. I never saw the presidents actually letting us into their executive board meetings. Like Trump allowed you to come into the executive board meeting and how it's actually conducted. If any of you guys, like I have, like myself, have been on an executive board and you sit around and each, president of whatever company that is. What happened?
The whole dealership now, the Tesla vandals. Wow.
That's terrible. And it's Americans, that are Democrats that are suffering from that. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot going on. Truth wins in the end, and that's the honest to God truth. The truth will manifest, and there's a lot of things that are going to come out that's going to be shocking. The Trump administration is going to they're digging in and they're going to expose everything that they were trying to hide.
Gabriel said, my only problem with Trump right now is he won't take his role in this Ukraine war.
What else does he need to do? Go over there and fight it himself? What else? We got our own problems here. We have our own country here. How much are we supposed to keep doing for other countries?
I'm her son. That's my mom.
We gave them $350 billion. We sent weapons over there. I mean, it's a long list. You could go online and go on the White House or whatever, everything that was given to Ukraine. We're taking care of 240,000 Ukrainians in this country. They're on our Social Security. They're getting EBT cards. They're getting Medicare, Medicaid.
Sergio, you might need to, I guess you need to look it up, but DEI does not benefit black people in the way
Not
you
at
think
all.
it does.
Not at all. It don't benefit us at all. We're just a face. You know how they like
Yeah.
civil rights. They put a black person on top of D. No,
You could-
we're intelligent, articulate, educated. Go ahead. I'm
You
sorry.
could look it up, but DEI mainly benefits white women, the
Number one.
LGBT community,
Mhm.
veterans. Black people are last on the list.
Number 9.
Number 9 that is benefited from
don't be-
DEI.
We're far down. It doesn't benefit.
Yeah.
It don't affect us at all. And the thing about it, you have people like Al Sharpton and Jamal Bryant talking about we're going to fast for not shopping at Target. I couldn't go in Target enough. We're going to fast. We was going to do a video because that was insanity. They like tell all these lies. Had Al Sharpton, he going to go to Costco. We're going to buy in Costco because they're accepting DEI because they make it seem that they were making it seem these so-called fake black leaders that nobody's following, and we don't follow them, and putting them up front and trying to lead the black people, don't shop there. And guess, black people, they follow, we follow, anybody get up there, and we like, oh, they doing something to us. Let us follow like sheep to the slaughter. We just follow, and they didn't even know that number one were white women that benefited mostly from DEI. Then it was Hispanic Latinos. After that, it was like Asians, LGBTQ, indigenous, Indians, seniors, disabled, veterans, and then it was black people. Okay, we were number 9. It didn't benefit us, just to be clear.
It's because the media,
all this fake media.
The media is feeding them that propaganda. Even
Yeah.
look at YouTubers like Charlie Kirk. Every time he talks about DEI, he's talking to a black person.
He's talking to a black person,
Yeah.
like DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. He's talking about, I wouldn't fly on a plane. If you see a black pilot, he had to be the top of his class, even be a pilot. And the planes aren't going down with black pilots. They're going down with white pilots, just to be clear. But he like, I wouldn't feel safe. Like, we're only good at athleticism. That black people, brains don't have a color. Okay? God made brains, your kidneys, your lungs. That's why you could be an organ donor and it doesn't matter what color that person was. That organ is the same organ. So it's not like someone is more intelligent because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
It's according to your education.
Yeah, Laura said, wow, I had no idea. Yeah, it does not benefit us, DEI.
It doesn't benefit us. Every time they want to do some kind of civil cause or black people this, that's a come hands off. You didn't see black people out there. Black people are like, oh no, this is not our fight. We're always like the face of stuff, but we're actually fighting for other groups. They turn the Civil Act or whatever for black people into LGBTQ. They fight more for LGBTQ. They're not fighting for black people, civil rights. It benefits transgenders now. It benefits everyone else. It doesn't benefit black people. But we're the face of it. We know what diversity, equity, inclusion is. You don't know. Google it. Ask someone. Ask somebody. We know what diversity, equity, inclusion is.
A guy on here said that you make sense. He worked for MLK. And he said a black doctor saved his life.
Amen.
Amen.
That's right. Look at, what was his name? Ben Carson.
Yeah.
He's the greatest brain surgeon that's been out here is Ben Carson. So all that back in the 60s or 1800s, this is 2025. Black people are educated, articulate, intelligent. They're doctors, lawyers, multimillionaires, billionaires. We pour into $1.7 trillion into the United States. We give the United States its swag, its identity. That's from Black people. Everyone want to dance, wear the clothes. You go to China, they dress more like rappers and hip hop than anybody I've seen. I'm like, look at this. They culture vultures. So it's like we give identity.
Romeo and Juliet.
He probably did
Yeah, probably
benefit. Hey, maybe he did benefit from DEI because we certainly don't.
Oh, someone said Ben Carson was their surgeon.
Hey, wow. God bless you. You had the best. That's why you on here now. You here. You're here. So all that trying to put people in a box, that has to stop.
How are we blaming anyone? He said black people love to blame, but never take responsibility. Who are we blaming?
We're not blaming anyone.
Yeah.
Nobody has blamed anyone for anything. We just simply said that they make us the face of DEI, but it doesn't benefit us culturally. We're the last on the list. We don't get the benefits like people would think because you have mainstream media, you have Black leaders, you have people like Charlie Kirk trying to tell people like DEI, supposed diversity, inclusion, equity, inclusion. They want to act like it's a Black thing, and it's not. It was supposed to be. When George Floyd was murdered, they wanted to have something to bring more, equality into the workplace because Black people were not being hired in more executive positions as their white counterparts. But at the end of the day, it didn't trickle down to us. It went to white women. That's who mostly benefited from DEI. And that is a fact. That's a fact. Fact check me. Treat me like a politician. Fact check me.
Someone said we should be blaming Trump.
Trump just came into
He's
office.
the fall guy.
I don't know how. He 4 years of what we're going through is because of 4 years of the Democratic Party.
Orlando, then what are you referring to? You're putting that statement out there, but what are you referring to? What issue that we've talked about that we don't know about?
Charlie Kirk has said that.
You could look at Charlie Kirk and DI up.
Yeah. He always wanted to challenge Black people. He think that he's the smartest man on campus, that everybody that's Black is beneath him. And he could tell you what Black is better than Black people. That's how he see it, because he said y'all are great at being athletes. Y'all what?
It's from Ireland. He's saying.
Oh, hi. He's on there saying, if you look at his videos, he's saying Black people, they're great at is being athletes, but they're not, we're not smart, say, to be the brain surgeon.
And Steve said, I watch Charlie Kirk all the time, and he did say that.
Yeah, he did say that. And I was like, here he is telling a lie, and he's always trying to challenge young Black people about their Blackness because he feels as though that he's more superior. He does come off as a white supremacist. He comes off like, I can't follow all Republicans. Someone like him is a turn off because he wants to make it like that no one is smarter than him. And that means that he can't learn anything from anyone that's not white, obviously, because as far as he's concerned, Black people are not smart enough to be in his position, whatever that might be. But that's how arrogant he is.
Tammy, you could just...
And he talks like that.
You could look up the videos of
Please go on
look
there.
Look up Charlie
and
Kirk
see what
and
this
DEI and see for yourself.
And he talks down to any Black person he come across. He'll tell a Black person how to be Black. That's how deep he is. He knows more about being Black than Black people. But one thing he doesn't know, because he's not. And he's living back in the day. And for some reason, if it's equal education, equal everything, because God gave it, God didn't say, okay, I'm going to give white people a certain brain, Black people, Asians, indigenous. He made us all in his image. And there's no white section in heaven. There's no black section in heaven. There's no Asian section. We are the human race. And when we get our spiritual bodies, we won't have these vessels that we have that have this beautiful melanin in our complexions. Okay, there's no white section. There's no superiority. God made us all in his image. And it's great that we don't all look the same. You know how boring that would be? If we all look, like you go to China, like they all look similar. There's some similarity. They all have black hair. They all have the same features. But God, he mixed it up. So when they travel, you got all this diversity. That makes life interesting when you see the diversity.
Tyler said it's scary to speak the truth.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing that God has done. But we are made in his image. That's why our lungs, our brains, we got the same type of fingers, hands, limbs. It's just our pigment can be different. And I love the color. I love my complexion. I love it. And I never want or desire to be anything other than this beautiful black woman that's standing before you. And that's the honest to God truth. You know, you got to be happy however God made you. Be happy with that. Be confident with that.
Yeah, Steve said more people need to pick the Bible back up.
They need to pick it back up. We're made in God's image. We are the human race.
God bless you too.
You know, there's too many people that walk around with being racist and they go to church. But don't they understand that there's no color in heaven? There's no divide in heaven. God is holy. There's no divide. Don't call yourself a Christian and you think that you're superior or you got this divide. That God's not in you. You know, he said in Matthew 28:19, we're supposed to go throughout the world and make disciples of men. We got to let everybody know who God is. Preach the word of God. That's what we're called to do. But we got to get out of our ways and stop thinking with the color and look at how wonderful it is. I love my white brothers and sisters, my Asians, my indigenous, and Indian. I love beautiful people. I love people no matter who. I love them. Jewish people, Italian, Palestinians. You got to love everybody. God made all of us. Man is doing all this separation. He does all the separation, but there's no separation in heaven. And guess what? There's no separation in hell. No matter what color you were here on earth, if your designation is hell, it ain't going to matter to you burning in that lake of fire for trillions of years, forever suffering, forever being separated from God. You going to care about your color in a lake of fire? I don't think so.
Hey man, if you want to think that, if you want to believe that, you can, but we're living good over here.
You know, get due process in their own country. Stop using that talking points that you heard. Get due process where they're from. Did Clinton give due process with 12.3 million people that were deported? Did Obama with 5.3 million? Did Bush with 10.3 million? Did they get due process? You get to Trump, 100,000 criminals, and y'all let them get due process in the country. Right. They broke the law. Right. They're not citizens.
Right, said, I support y'all big time, but calling someone racist without facts is not right, y'all.
Not calling them racist is making a point. Thanks, when people Patrick. Change what you say, it's like people pick and choose the words, and one word can change the whole meaning. My whole point is that there's no racism in heaven. There's no all white section. There's no all any particular section. We are all made as one. We're made in God's image, is what I said. We are the human race. So all the people that think that they're superior being whatever complexion, that's not being godly.
Dylan been hating the whole time, and he's now said, wow, so uneducated. Y'all were brought over without due process as property.
Oh my God. I wasn't brought anywhere. Yeah, I'm American. I wasn't brought over. My ancestors were. Yeah. And that's why we should be getting reparations in the first place. They don't mind giving it to these people who never did anything for this country. But my people labored and died and were tortured. They went through hell. but we contribute, like I said, $1.7 trillion into this economy. So we should be a blessed people. We should be blessed. But no, I'm American. I wasn't brought over.
Someone said they're starting an unsubscribe train.
I don't care. You can't outdo you. Look,
You can
the more you
unsubscribe.
try to do that, the more God's gonna bless us. Because our blessings don't come from you; it comes from God. And whoever God is assigned to hear, they're going to hear irregardless. If you don't like what you hear, there are 1,000 other content creators. Go listen to them. If I hurt your feelings. Because we're not going to back down from speaking our truth. This is our opinion. This is America. We have freedom of speech. You can agree to disagree, but just to say, I'm going to do unsubscribe and all that.
Yeah, Vita said a good point. She said, where are the 325,000 missing children?
Yeah, they don't talk about. We did that on our stream yesterday. They're not talking about finding the 350,000 missing children. They don't talk about lowering interest rates. They don't talk about high interest rates for housing, lowering housing costs. They don't talk about the needs of America. And you know what I want to do? I want us to have, just like they've been having a rallies, because I'm an organizer, I'm an activist, I would like to have a rally. I would like to have a rally. It takes one to know one. I would like to have a rally, the American First rally.
Jesse, what race are you? I mean,
We need to have America
First
First
off,
rally.
we're
What is that?
not crying, but what race are you? After all of what our ancestors went through and had to deal with, like what race
What
are
black
you?
people still deal
They
with.
saying black people crying to this day.
No, we saw, did y'all see Hands Off last week? Did y'all see 50-51 rally? That wasn't us out there. All those, every state, 50 states. Did you see black people out there? Who was crying? That was not us. That was not black people, okay? Okay, cut on any channel or news channel. You go back, see who was out there. That wasn't black people. That was white people out there. So it wasn't us crying. So that's not true. You know, everybody had a turn and disgruntled about something, irregardless of their race. But that wasn't us.
You know, someone said black people should get empathy, but not immigrants, huh?
Their empathy is from the country they came from. We had a dementia president that opened up the borders, that we're dealing with a $36 trillion deficit. Bringing more people in here that are homeless, 14 million. We're not even taking care of our own American citizens, and our vets was it was blasphemous what they've done to our country.
Dylan,
They have destroyed this country.
Dylan, you've been hating the whole time. You haven't said anything worthwhile to reply to, man.
But I think what we are going to have, what we should have, is an America First celebration. That just like they've been having, all those other people out there been having rallies, big, huge, rallies, hands off 2 weeks ago. They weren't talking about anything, but they were in every state.
Okay, I'm replying to you.
And I think like a few days ago, last week, they had the 50-51.
Now, Jesse, I don't know what race you are, but you not being a black person, I guess you can't understand it, but at least feel sorry for what we went through. Like Jesse's saying, you're crying and bringing up old stuff centuries ago.
What? It's still history.
Yeah.
But it's still history. You learn from your history. No one is crying, and nobody is really going in depth like we could about what has transpired throughout the years of Black Americans being brought to this country.
First, they killed off the Native Americans. Then they made us all slaves. The entire Native American race is almost gone. You don't even see.
Yeah, they literally
this is their country.
wiped out the Native Americans.
This is their country, and you don't even see Native Americans.
Indigenous, yeah.
Yeah. Like, white people have done a lot of treacherous things to groups of people. And that's just the honest to God truth. I still have love for them, but they've done some really bad things.
Their ancestors have done a lot.
They've done some bad things.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the police brutality, being on George Floyd's neck and stuff, they've done some bad things, but I still got love for them.
Yeah, well, because Black people are forgiving people.
Yeah.
And so are a lot of other people. They are forgiving people. And that's how it is. We're forgiving people. So anyway, God is good, but what we probably need to have or have in the future is America First rally. I think that Americans need to come together and stand as one, putting America first celebration. And I think the time to have that is probably the 4th of July when we celebrate, you know, this country, have American First celebration. So that's what I think that I would like to have and organize a rally like that to celebrate America. America First rally. America First. And anybody that's for America, which people should be, people that have certificate of naturalizations, Americans, come together and just be, you know, happy to be American. Be American. Italians, blacks, Jews, whites, you know, indigenous, all the Americans come together for and call it America First. America First. And we could call it celebration. America First celebration. Not a rally, not a protest, a celebration. And that's what I would like to do. So you heard it here first. America First celebration.
You're not Native American, dude. I seriously don't believe that, because you would not be saying that. These people in the chat are crazy.
I love you guys. I love you,
I love you too.
This white man got to get back to work. Okay, Steve. Thank you for joining us. God bless you.
They say, live in the present. You have not felt anything in either of your lifetimes. LOL.
Yeah, we here. We're talking about now. We said we're Americans. You know, we have not. You know, we're thankful to God, but our thanks comes from God. You know, we're thankful for what God has done in our lives. The world should be thankful. Americans are peaceful.
I really want to call in debate. You want him to call us? We can add him to the stream.
Who? Oh,
this one guy. He said he wants to call in and debate.
He want to call in debate right now?
Yeah.
Are you up to that?
I mean, I don't mind.
Cause we got to. I'm hungry now. Okay, let's try it. Okay. We've never done it before. This person will be our first call-in.
Chevy, sorry, Chevy. All right, I don't know really how to do this, but so I gotta figure it out.
Oh, we should do that with Chevy.
Yeah.
Because we told we would bring him on. You know how to bring him on?
Not really.
What do you do?
This?
I know that there's, let's see, what's this right here? That's to end it or to keep it? Nah, I want to cancel that.
Can we message him to send him the link?
The link. Let's see, report channel activity. That's not it there. What is this? Is the mic? What are these other things? What's that?
That's just like the settings for it. I was thinking this is plus, but I want to turn the live stream off. No, that's poll.
That's it. No, that's not. So that's just a poll. What's that right there?
Chat filter.
And that was what? That's just to start a poll. So the microphone is what? That's nothing.
Mm-mm.
What about
Might have.
What about up here with the people? Can we like hit that? And what happens when you hit that?
I want to call him, but I'm not sure how to do it.
Channel activity. Can we like go to here, channel activity, and see if we could bring them on like that?
Okay. Oh, he said if you have Discord, I could do that.
Oh, what's this? Well, we never did. I really wanted to call. Well, we have to download the app. I mean, how you do it? How you do it on YouTube Live?
No, I think we have to have them get the email link before we start the live, I believe.
Do we have an email link that? Don't they have it on the description? The email? They could send their email to me, and we send them the link.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it? Discord. We have to look into Discord because we don't know how you do it. Because I know before we come on, you can add people to the live. I saw that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I saw that, but I don't know how you add people while you're already on the live. Add some. Do you add people? What comes up here? Oh wow, it shows.
His comments.
See, you don't even see all that when we do. Yeah. Yeah. And what's here? No, can't do it that way. Because I don't know how you do it yet while we're already on the live.
I wish I could message him because I would send him just an anonymous phone number.
Well, he can, what he can do, because when we come back on, what we could suggest for our next live is in my comments, like after this live, just leave, what do they need? Just give me their email?
Yeah, the email.
Yeah, anybody wants to come on in
Yeah.
the future to do a live with us, just go to the comments after this program, and leave a comment too. And just ask, say you want to come on the live and leave your email. And we'll keep y'all emails, whatever. And then, so when we go on, we can send you the link and then we can bring you on. Because we was trying to see if we could find out to kind of bring you on now, but we can't bring you on like this.
Dylan on too.
Dylan.
If he's
So
brave enough.
anyone that's interested, we like to smoke, whatever. We stand 10 toes down. Anyone that wants to come on after this, just leave in the comments after this live. Just leave in the comments, and you can leave a comment about what you might want to discuss or whatever the case may be, and send, just leave your email address. And then I'll send you the link to the show. So when we come on, then you'll already have the.
You know what I'll do?
What they already have the link.
What I'll do is I'll make a Google document form where they can submit their email and what they want to debate about, so we can collect all the emails like that, make it easier.
Okay, tell them how we're gonna do it.
So what I'll do is I'll make a Google Documents form, and where you can submit your name and your email.
You talking about yay?
Where you can submit your name and your email, and then that way we'll get everyone who submits their email, and then we can have a debate or just a conversation with people that are watching the stream. I think that would make it really unique and interesting, talking to different people about politics.
Yeah, you can leave comments after the live. See, everything, like once this is over, we no longer see comments. So the only way that we can respond to you is once this show is over, then you can go to comments and you can leave a comment there. You could leave us a comment about what you want to discuss. You can talk about the show. You can tell us how you feel, because we will respond to you.
Colin said, because Dylan been trolling the whole time, and Colin replied to him. Colin said, anyone named Dylan is unemployed and still living with his parents.
Wow. So this goes for anyone that wants to be on, and my son, he's going to, put in a document or whatever, and you can even look at the topics, and we'll send you like an email when we're going to go on if you want to join us, and then we will bring you on prior to going live. Or we might just do an upload. We might bring people on and do a whole show and then upload the show. Either or, we're going to start bringing people on so that we can hear you, could put faces behind it. We can hear your opinions as well. But we're not going to go for disrespect. Yeah. You're going to have to be able to use the dictionary. It's not going to be no yelling, cussing, and all that. It's going to be communicating with one another and voicing your opinion.
Thanks, IFE.
So if you can handle that, then that's fine. If you can't, then your voice is not going to be heard.
Spawn said, I'll join as long as we can debate in good faith.
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah. That's what we want. We could debate. You could call it debate, or we could have conversation. Okay? Everybody can give their... We can agree to disagree. That's what we can do. Agree to disagree. So anybody that want to participate in that, like after this, you can leave your email, and we'll tell people each live whatever we do and let them know. And we are, I just started, someone had suggested like the day before yesterday, they said, you don't have no membership, we're just growing, and some stuff we don't know what we're doing, we just come on. And so I did start a membership, so members or whatever that wants want to have just a one-on-one, want to do polls, want to be involved in a members only live and things like that, that's what I've started now. So anyone who want to become a member, you can go to the link that's in the description and you can become a member. So this is new. I don't have any members yet because it's new. And we look forward to getting to know you. So anybody that want to support the channel, want to become a member, we would like to get to know you.
Yeah, and Francine said good. Francine said good. You sound fair and peaceful. And Dylan, he has now said, not gonna lie, bro. Me and the host dude would probably vibe.
What?
Me and him would be cool with each other.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, that's how we want it to be. Just peaceful, friendly, and agree to disagree on things.
That's good. Yeah, but that's what it's all about. It's about us talking and airing out and having our opinions. And it's not about arguing right and wrong.
Now he's back to trolling.
Okay, he can't help it. We're going to pray for you in Jesus' name. Deliver him, God. It's okay. We're going to show you love no matter what. We're going to show you love.
Now Riot said, please pump the brakes on Charlie Kirk comment. That's all. And heart emojis.
Look, go watch his video and see how he interact with black people. That's all I have to say. I wasn't too pleased. All right, see how he interacts. And this is from a black perspective, who he wants to talk about time to time. It's like our perspective don't hold no water with him. Like, we're black. We ought to know. It's our experience.
Him saying he doesn't trust a black pilot.
Yeah, he doesn't trust anybody. His whole comment was that black people are only good as being athletes, entertainers, things like that. But as far as being a doctor, scientist, airplane pilot, that belong to white people, because the white people are smarter in those areas. Any thinking area, they're smarter. But black people, as far as athleticism, then that's where we dominate.
And this is to the people.
And that's a lie.
This is the people who referred to Native Americans as Indians.
There's Dylan. He said, Dylan, you're not Cat Williams until the truth is out there now. They getting Dylan. They all getting Dylan. Is that Cat Williams? It'd be fun. We come on as Cat Williams. That would be hysterical. Oh, that would be hysterical. And we did go to see him too.
Oh, Dylan's getting mad now.
Ohio. How does Dylan know that?
Dylan watching.
Yeah, and it's funny how people who aren't in agreement, they get so angry, like they don't have choices. You don't even have to be on here. That's a choice. But they want to hear it. You want to hear it. You probably subscribe and get the notification when we come on. We want to thank you because you need to hear. That's how we grow as a people, as Americans. You got to hear different perspectives. None of us are all knowing. None of us know everything.
Someone said, Dylan keeps saying he's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, what?
And Colin said our new comedy is These Goose.
Wow. People like Dylan is like a punching bag. Yeah, I'm dancing. I do appreciate you guys' opinion.
Someone said, no, I'm watching this stuff on purpose, even though y'all kind of piss me off.
Okay, that's good. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. It's fair. It's fine. Dang. You can't be on here unless you can stand 10 toes down. When people are too soft or they too sensitive, you don't need to be on social media because it's not for you.
Rand, you sound like Kamala Harris. He said, you sure don't know what you don't know. That sounds like something Kamala
Word salad. Oh my God.
What was is then.
What been is people had to take a while to start realizing she was talking in word salads for a while until they started listening to her recording. What has been is not has been or whatever. She was all over the place. Dylan has worked 2 jobs to keep a mortgage. Meanwhile, she straight looks like Kamala. Oh, well. That's what my son said. She straight looks like Kamala. Somebody look like Kamala.
Yeah, you do.
That's what you said I look like,
Yeah.
Kamala.
Kamala is an attractive lady, Mom. It's not an insult. I just don't agree with her politically, but Kamala is good looking.
Yeah, she is. I agree. Yeah. Look. Oh, the Kawhi Leonard laugh. Yeah, that was the funniest laugh. Kawhi Leonard. Kevin Hart almost had a heart attack when he heard Kawhi Leonard finally laugh. It looked like he was in pain. Now, Kamala shouldn't have won. Nah, I shouldn't have won. But anyway, you guys, we're going to jump off of here. We've been on here for a while. God bless you. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And anyone that wants to join us on the live in the future, just after this stream or when you get a chance, leave a comment. Leave your email address so then we can send you the link for the show. So when we go on, we can notify you and let you know, that you can come on.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to send the link through the email address, and then we can bring you on, prior to the show. Probably going to do it prior to bring them on like that. Or when we do StreamYard, we could bring in a few people.
And I think it's smart to kind of interview the person first really quickly.
Yeah, we got to learn how to do it. So we're going to just probably start trying to bring, someone on one at a time so that we can learn how to do it. We really got to learn how to do this. So that's what we're going to do. Trump. But we want to thank you guys. And, what do you feel about the new administration? Do you think they're being transparent? What do you think about Kilmar Garcia? Do you think that he should receive due process? So, and it's not about him. Do you believe that the 14 million homeless illegals should receive due process? Including all the murderers and the rapists and the cartel and Trinidad, Rock, everybody. They said it would take 200 years to get them out of this country. You think America that's $16 trillion in debt, that we can afford to take each person to court to send them out of the country, the one that they enter illegally and they're not American citizens? What country would do all that? Due process is for Americans. Do you believe that? Do you believe that either they broke the law or they didn't? Did they break the law when they entered the country or they didn't break the law? Are we supposed to follow all laws or are we supposed to pick and choose which one? Shouldn't they get due process in their own country? Like even with Kilmar Garcia, you know how much it cost us with him being in this country, taking him to court? It's cost us $5 million. You know how much of that he's paid? Nothing. He's been before 17 judges. He was ordered to leave this country in 2019. Did y'all know that? Do you know that his wife put 2 restraining orders out on him? She got videos and pictures of his abuse. That he's punched, scratched, he's done all kinds of, rip her clothes off, he's done all kinds of things to her. Are you aware of that? So we're supposed to bring him back to send him back out. So we're supposed to pay millions of more dollars for this one. When we have presidents that deported $12.3 million, a Democratic president, that there was no pushback, no injunctions, no cry out from the public, no due process. But Trump getting in office, 100,000 people, he gets 30 injunctions. Do you think that makes sense? Or do you think that that is biased because of who he is versus everyone else? So anyway, you guys, those are questions or answer, whatever that you can share in the comments. You can write, young woman. Due process. Yeah, that's for Americans. But anyway, you guys, we want to bring you on, but we got to get off because we have things to do.
Food.
We got to eat. God bless you. We love you. Don't forget to hit the like, share, to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we come on. And if you want to, become a member of this channel. Support the channel. God bless you guys. We thank you. We love you. And the people that might be mad, don't be mad. Just look at it that this is America's freedom of speech. We're just giving our opinion. And we welcome yours, and we're going to be bringing people on, but you have to be respectful and you learn how to use the dictionary without cursing, cussing, being disrespectful when you don't have your way. You know, let's just talk about it. That's another name of the show. Let's talk about it. Anyway, God bless you. And don't forget to join us on our next slide. Oh, thank you. Read this. Remember me. Okay, so we will remember you. Okay, so they want to come on live, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Huh, you remember them?
Uh-huh.
Quiet Faith.
Yeah, so just leave your email, bro.
You have to leave your email
In the comments.
Okay, so God bless you. Anybody who wants to come on,
Oh, let's send you to our epic.
Thank you. We love you. You know, just remember that, you guys. We want everything we do. You still got to show love for everyone. Even the ones that are, say nasty things and all that. God said, people are gonna prosecute you, and that's how it is.
Dylan
Persecute
said
you.
they not like us. Sounds like Kendrick's song.
Kendrick Lamar. They not like it. Well, God bless you guys, and we're going to see you in the next live. We don't know if we're coming back on tonight, but we'll probably be on tomorrow. So
Trump's having a speech tonight, though.
Oh yeah, we might be on tonight. That's why you got to hit the notification bell, because we have no schedule with this. Like whenever we do have the time or we're off or whatever, then we do it, because people work and go to school.
Yeah,
so
we gotta go. Dylan acting a little weird.
Okay, well anyway, God bless you, Dylan. We're gonna see you in the next one.
Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, you really kept the show going. We appreciate people like you. Thank you.